Hey there, sleepyheads. Welcome back to the channel. Before we drift into tonight's tale of the cosmic echo where stories go when forgotten, I'd love to know where in the world you are watching from tonight, and what time is it for you right now? Drop it in the comments below. It's always magical seeing how far and wide this sleepy little community reaches. All right, lights low, blankets up, let's begin. Tonight we are going to gently wander through a quieter part of Adventure Time. The part that exists in the spaces between remembered stories, the edges of myths that are no longer told aloud. We are going to explore the whispering threads of memory, those delicate, almost invisible strands that carry the essence of tales even after the pages have been closed. The episodes have faded from the screen, and the characters have drifted into silence. Imagine, if you will, a vast, soft darkness, not empty, but filled with the faint hum of forgotten laughter, the ghostly shimmer of adventures that no longer echo in voices, but linger quietly, almost like a song you half remember from a dream. Inu, stories have a way of seeping into the fabric of the world, curling around the trees, flowing through rivers, hiding in the folds of mountains and valleys. Even when no one is telling them, they leave marks, subtle imprints that you might not notice at first. Perhaps an old, crumbling castle, where the wind carries faint echoes of laughter and footsteps from ages past, or a quiet forest clearing where the shadows of long-gone heroes linger, as if waiting for someone to remember. These traces are the whispering threads of memory, delicate, fragile, yet persistent. They are the pulse of what has been, quietly urging us to notice that nothing is ever truly lost. Think of the countless adventures of Finn and Jake, the tales of the Candy Kingdom, the explorations of distant lands and mystical dimensions. For every story we watch, there are dozens more that never made it into the show, whispers of events that were imagined, sketched, or dreamt, but never fully spoken aloud. Those stories don't vanish. They fold softly into the edges of ooh, like dust motes floating in a shaft of sunlight, catching light in ways you might only see if you slow your gaze, if you let your mind drift with curiosity. Each memory leaves a trace, a faint glow that continues to hum softly in the background, waiting for the gentle recognition of someone who remembers. Sometimes when we think of forgotten stories, we imagine them fading into nothingness, evaporating like mist. But in the quiet universe of Adventure Time, memory is more tenacious. It doesn't disappear. It curls around itself, folding into the nooks of space, settling into corners of time that no one walks through anymore. It is almost as if the stories become alive in their absence, their quiet existence a soft echo of the vibrancy they once had. Even when we don't tell the tales anymore, when the characters no longer speak, when the adventures are paused forever in a frame, the memory of them drifts, like gentle sparks in a dark room, shimmering faintly, imperceptibly, but undeniably present. We can imagine these threads as more than just abstract notions. Perhaps they are thin, luminous filaments stretching across the cosmos, connecting moments and characters in ways we cannot fully perceive. One thread might trace the laughter of BMO as he wanders through the hallways of the treehouse, while another hums quietly with the echo of Marceline's bass, vibrating softly against the still air of the night. Each thread is a story's heartbeat, small, steady, persistent. They twist and twine around one another, forming patterns that only the universe itself can truly read. But for those who listen closely, there is a rhythm that is comforting, like the gentle pull of tides that have always existed, even when unseen. There is a certain intimacy to these threads. They are shy, delicate, not demanding attention, but patient. They do not plead for our recognition, yet if we pause long enough, if we quiet our minds and soften our hearts, We can feel them. They whisper to us in fragments of memory, a forgotten joke, a fleeting adventure, a heroic act that no one wrote down. The threads carry the essence of the stories themselves, not just the events, but the feelings, the warmth, the small, subtle moments that make a story worth remembering. A thread might vibrate with the quiet bravery of Finn, the steady loyalty of Jake, or the whimsical magic of Princess Bubblegum's laboratory. In these threads, memory becomes alive, not as words or pictures, but as gentle, lingering impressions that comfort the soul. In some ways, these whispering threads remind us of how storytelling itself is a form of immortality. Even if the audience moves on, even if the world forgets, the threads hold fast. They remember for us. They preserve the stories in their purest form, stripped of the noise and haste of retelling. A tale does not need to be spoken to exist. It only needs to be felt, to be acknowledged in the quiet corners of thought. In the vast universe of ooh, where kingdoms rise and fall, where magic fades and resurfaces, and where time stretches endlessly, these threads are the quiet custodians of narrative, holding gently the memories of adventures that might otherwise vanish. And yet they are elusive. They do not announce themselves. They are present in the soft sigh of wind through the leaves, in the shimmer of a morning dew on a forgotten hill, in the quiet reflection of a puddle after the rain has passed. If we walk too hurriedly, if we demand them to be loud and clear, they retreat. But if we slow, if we let our minds drift and our senses open, they reach out in the subtlest ways, brushing against our consciousness with whispers of stories, urging us to remember, to feel, and to imagine. As we linger in this quiet space, it becomes easier to imagine that the whispering threads are not just passive remnants, but gentle currents flowing through the unseen dimensions of ooh. They are like faint rivers of light and memory, twisting and turning through the landscapes of forgotten kingdoms and abandoned magic. Perhaps in the Ice Kingdom, there is a strand that hums softly with the echoes of past winters, of icy creatures whose stories were never told, lingering in a serene frost that never melts. Or in the Candy Kingdom, threads of laughter and tiny fleeting dramas still drift through the air, curling around sugar-spun towers and glistening gardens long after the voices have quieted. Some threads are more fragile than others, like the memory of a fleeting adventure that never quite reached its conclusion. They flutter lightly, carried by imagination itself, waiting for someone to catch them, even if only for a moment. Other threads are thicker, more persistent, built from moments of deep emotion or acts of bravery, and they resonate steadily, like a low hum that can be felt more than heard. Perhaps the threads of Finn's first triumphs or Jake's loyal companionship pulse with this steadiness, a quiet reminder that certain stories, though forgotten by the world, are never truly lost. In this realm, time seems to stretch and bend, no longer following the strict order we are accustomed to. The threads of memory weave past, present, and imagined future together in a delicate, shimmering lattice. One might brush against a moment from a long-lost hero's tale, only to drift gently into the echo of a story that has not yet been dreamt. There is no rush here. There is only the patient unfolding of possibility, the gentle layering of one memory atop another, forming a tapestry that is as much felt as it is seen. In these folds, the universe remembers. It keeps hold of stories, even when the voices that once told them have fallen silent. And yet, there is a quiet melancholy that accompanies this beauty. Stories, when untold, often drift into solitude. They exist, yes, but without the warmth of being heard or shared. They are like stars whose light reaches us only faintly through clouds of forgetfulness, their brilliance softened their edges hazed with the passage of time. But perhaps this is the natural rhythm of storytelling. Some stories are meant to be sung and spoken, danced through and acted out, while others are meant to rest, quietly glowing, waiting for the rare, patient soul to find them again. The whispering threads do not mind their solitude. They are content to exist in the gentle hush of memory, resonating softly with anyone who happens to notice. We might imagine that every forgotten character, every lost adventure, contributes to this unseen chorus. The heroic deeds of past the small kindnesses, the moments of quiet courage, all leave a mark on these threads. Even minor characters, those who appeared only once or were imagined only in the sketches of early drafts, find their place here. They are no less real because they are forgotten. Each has its own gentle pulse, its own soft cadence, and together they form a subtle symphony, an unbroken echo that fills the quiet corners of the universe. Perhaps we can even sense the threads as more than memories. They might carry feelings too. A thread might vibrate with the warmth of joy, the softness of friendship, or the gentle ache of loss. In this way, the whispering threads are alive, not in the sense of moving and speaking, but alive as carriers of the essence of what once was. They are the soul of stories, distilled into quiet resonance, waiting patiently to brush against the mind of a listener who is willing to slow down, who is willing to wander through the hush of unspoken tales. There is a kind of sacredness in this silence. As we drift along these threads, we realize that stories, even when forgotten, are never truly gone. They exist in potential, in resonance, in the soft hum of memory that pervades the world. The cosmic echo does not demand attention. It merely waits quietly for those who come seeking comfort, curiosity, or simply the gentle embrace of imagination. And in this way, the threads are tender guides, leading us through the invisible layers of Oo's past, past the kingdoms, past the heroes, and into the quiet heart of all that has been and all that might be remembered again. Each thread is also a doorway, a subtle invitation. If we follow it slowly, with care, we might find ourselves brushing against stories that were never fully told, adventures that never reached their climax, moments of magic that faded before anyone could witness them. These threads invite us to listen, to feel, to inhabit the gentle hum of the forgotten. And as we do, we start to understand the delicate truth that guides this quiet, unseen realm. Stories never truly vanish. They persist, softly, invisibly, until someone, somewhere, allows themselves to remember, to imagine, and to dream them back into life. As we float further along the gentle currents of these whispering threads, we begin to see how they gather together, weaving themselves into something larger, something quietly magnificent. Each memory, each echo of a story, carries its own light, faint but persistent. Alone, a thread might be almost imperceptible, a shimmer barely seen in the vast darkness. But when they begin to intertwine, they form patterns that ripple softly across the fabric of the unseen universe, creating a faint glow that is more than the sum of its parts. This is the beginning of the cosmic echo, the hidden repository of everything that has ever existed in story, waiting to be remembered, waiting to be felt. In this echo, there is no strict order. There is no timeline pressing forward. No need for beginnings, middles, or endings. Here, stories are fluid, drifting in currents that are guided by resonance rather than by logic. One might brush past the laughter of a forgotten child in a candy-colored city, and then find themselves swept into the quiet bravery of a knight who never received a song sung for. There is a strange, tender symmetry to it all, as if the universe itself knows that every story, no matter how small, has a place and a purpose. even if it is only to exist softly, gently, as a memory waiting for attention. Imagine for a moment the cosmic echo as a vast night sky. Each thread is a star, faintly glowing, shimmering with potential. Some stars pulse gently, their stories full of warmth and joy, while others flicker with the soft melancholy of adventures that were never fully realized. And just as the night sky seems endless, so too does the network of these threads stretch far beyond what we can see or imagine. They connect not only the known adventures of Oo, but also the untold, the half-dreamed, the imagined possibilities that never found a voice. Every choice not taken, every path unexplored, leaves its subtle imprint, a quiet note in this vast, sleeping symphony. In this way, the whispering threads and the cosmic echo remind us of the impermanence and resilience of memory. Even when a story is not spoken, it leaves a trace. Even when an adventure is forgotten, its essence lingers. There is comfort in this, a sense that the universe is never truly empty of meaning. Every laugh, every tear, every tiny spark of courage leaves a trace that can be felt if we simply slow down and listen. And in the quiet, in the gentle hum of the unseen, these echoes speak softly to us, reminding us that stories have a way of surviving, even when no one is there to tell them. We might even consider that some stories are meant to sleep. Not all tales are intended for the eyes or ears of the present. Some are waiting patiently for the right moment, for the right soul, for the perfect whisper of memory to stir them back to life. In the cosmic echo, time bends around them, and they exist in a state of quiet potential, neither past nor future, but suspended in a kind of delicate eternity. It is a comforting thought to imagine that the universe itself cherishes these quiet moments, these half-remembered adventures, and keeps them safe until they are needed again. There is a subtle rhythm to the echo, a cadence that we might only notice if we close our eyes and drift with it. It is not a loud or insistent rhythm. It is gentle, patient, almost like a heartbeat beneath the surface of the world, steady and enduring. Each thread contributes to it. Each memory adds a note, and together they form a lullaby of existence itself. We can imagine walking through a forest where the trees themselves carry these echoes, their leaves vibrating softly with fragments of old tales, or drifting across a lake where the water reflects not only the moon but the shimmer of countless forgotten adventures. Each ripple a gentle reminder that nothing is ever truly lost. Even the smallest details, the most fleeting moments, have their place here. A wink shared between friends, the rustle of a cloak in a quiet hallway, the whispered spell of a magician long gone. All these moments persist, tiny but luminous, like fireflies in the velvet night. And as we move through this realm, we realize that the cosmic echo is not merely a passive storage of memories. It is alive in its own way, vibrating with the essence of imagination itself. The threads are not just recollections. They are living traces of what it feels like to dream, to care, to experience joy, fear, curiosity, and wonder. There is a gentle intimacy in this realization. The stories that have been forgotten are not abandoned. They are preserved in a tender, patient embrace, waiting to brush against the mind of a listener who is willing to pause, to notice, to feel. And when we allow ourselves to drift in this space, we begin to see that the threads of memory do more than preserve. They inspire. Even when a story has been forgotten by the world, it can awaken in subtle ways, influencing imagination, shaping dreams, and guiding us toward the quiet wisdom of experiences that once were. And so the whispering threads continue their quiet work, stretching across time and space, connecting Oo to realms beyond sight, carrying the essence of adventures that no longer walk among us. They remind us that stories are never lost. They merely wait. And in the hushed stillness of our attention, in the gentle focus of our imagination, we become part of the cosmic echo, catching the soft pulse of tales that exist in the spaces between telling, carrying them forward with us as we drift gently through the night. As we linger within the gentle glow of these whispering threads, we begin to notice how they do more than merely exist. They interact, intertwine, and form patterns that hint at something larger than any single story. It is as if the universe itself is weaving a subtle, silent tapestry, one that stretches across the unseen corners of ooh and beyond. These threads, delicate yet persistent, are the traces of countless forgotten moments, small acts of bravery, quiet kindnesses, fleeting mischiefs, and whispered dreams. Each pulse of memory contributes to this quiet lattice, resonating softly like tiny bells in a distant cathedral, ringing not to be heard, but to be felt. Consider how even the smallest memory might ripple outward. Perhaps a story forgotten by the world manifests as a faint shimmer along a tree branch in the Candy Kingdom, bending the sunlight just slightly differently, hinting at adventures that once were. Or maybe an untold tale rests in the folds of a crumbling castle in the Fire Kingdom, humming faintly as if the stones themselves remember the footsteps of heroes long gone. Every lost adventure, every half-remembered event, contributes to the quiet pulse of the cosmic echo, forming an intricate network of memory that stretches across space and time, connecting past, present, and possibilities that were never realized. In this quiet reflection, we can imagine that memory has its own gentle agency. The whispering threads are patient custodians of stories, ensuring that nothing is truly lost. They fold themselves around each other, forming delicate bridges between disparate moments, carrying the echoes of tales long forgotten into new spaces, where they may eventually be remembered again. A laugh, a spark of courage, the flutter of wings, or the quiet sigh of a character's unspoken thought. All these subtleties are preserved, and they hum faintly, waiting for the right moment, the right listener, to awaken them from their soft slumber. The threads do not merely preserve, they transform. As they intertwine and overlap, they create patterns that are never quite the same twice. A forgotten tale of Ooh's early history might blend with the quiet echoes of an untold adventure in a distant dimension, forming a new resonance that is unique to the cosmic echo itself. In this way, the forgotten becomes not just preserved, but alive, evolving in subtle ways that reflect the gentle creativity of memory and imagination. And though we cannot always perceive the full tapestry, we can sense its quiet rhythm, like a heartbeat beneath the surface of the universe, steady and enduring, soft and reassuring. There is a deep, almost sacred serenity in this process. The whispering threads teach us that stories are not defined solely by being told. They are defined by the very act of existing, by the resonance they carry through time and space. A story need not have an audience to matter. Its pulse, its essence, persists in the quiet folds of memory, in the gentle spaces where imagination dwells. It hums in the wind through the hills, shimmers in the surface of a still pond, and glows faintly in the twinkle of a distant star. The cosmic echo is not merely a repository. It is a living, breathing testament to the enduring power of narrative, a reminder that stories, even when forgotten, have a way of touching the universe. Perhaps the most comforting thought is that the whispering threads are inclusive, embracing all stories equally. Great adventures, quiet acts of kindness, mischievous pranks, fleeting moments of curiosity, they all find a place here. Every character, every creature, every hero or villain, no matter how small or overlooked, contributes to the quiet symphony of the cosmic echo. Even those whose names were never spoken, whose deeds were never recorded, live on within these threads, their essence gently preserved in the infinite lattice of memory. And so, as we drift through this space, we begin to understand the tender truth that governs it. The universe itself seems to recognize the intrinsic value of imagination. The cosmic echo is a sanctuary for stories, a realm where memory and creativity intertwine, forming a gentle, enduring hum that carries the essence of all that has been forgotten. These threads, these faint glimmers of once-told tales, are not lost. They are merely waiting, quietly, patiently, for someone to encounter them, to feel them, to awaken them with the simple act of remembrance. In this way, the whispering threads become more than just echoes. They become companions. They invite us to wander slowly, to notice gently, to honor the quiet magic of stories that exist even in silence. And if we listen carefully, if we allow ourselves to drift along with their rhythm, we might feel a subtle warmth, a soft reassurance, that even the stories that no longer walk among us continue to live, to hum, to exist in delicate, luminous patterns, echoing quietly across the universe of ooh. And as we rest here, in the gentle hum of the unseen, we begin to sense that the whispering threads are not just part of the past, they are part of us. They remind us that imagination, memory, and story are never truly separate from the one who dreams them. The cosmic echo is both everywhere and within us, a quiet, tender pulse that assures us that nothing is ever entirely lost. Even when stories are forgotten, they persist, soft and patient, waiting to be remembered, waiting to be felt, waiting to drift once more into the warmth of consciousness, carrying with them the timeless essence of adventure, wonder, and the magic of ooh itself. Let us drift a little deeper into the quiet corners of ooh, into the spaces that exist not in the stories we know, but in the pauses between them. We have wandered along the whispering threads of memory, felt their gentle pulse, and glimpsed the subtle hum of forgotten tales. And yet, even beyond those threads, there are the silent stretches that exist between episodes, between adventures, between moments of storytelling that were never captured, never told, but still pulse softly beneath the surface. These are the spaces between the episodes, delicate pockets of existence where the untold lives alongside the remembered. Imagine, if you can, the familiar streets of the Candy Kingdom after everyone has gone to sleep. The glow of the sugar-spun towers casting long, soft shadows across the cobblestones. In this quiet, the echoes of laughter, chatter, and celebration linger faintly in the air. But there are also moments that were never shared, stories that were never spoken aloud, drifting gently in the corners, soft as candlelight, waiting for a mind to brush against them. Perhaps a day passed when Princess Bubblegum experimented with a new creation, one that never made it into an episode, one whose consequences were subtle, leaving only a quiet ripple in the kingdom's history. These small, unnoticed adventures, these gaps in the timeline, form a landscape of possibility, a gentle hush that fills the spaces between what we see and what we imagine. These spaces are not empty. They are alive with quiet movement, a slow ebb and flow that mirrors the rhythm of thought itself. Consider the tree fort, its rooms and hallways filled with the lingering scent of old adventures. A teacup left on a table, a book open to a page long forgotten, a pair of socks tossed lazily across the floor. These are remnants of experiences that once held energy, that carried the warmth of life and imagination. Even though we never saw these moments unfold, they hum quietly in the memory of the world, forming subtle patterns that shape the very fabric of ooh. These spaces between episodes are like breathing spaces in a song, the notes we cannot hear but which give the melody its depth and resonance. There is a particular serenity in contemplating these unseen gaps. We might imagine that during a nightfall in the Fire Kingdom, when the lava pools shimmer in muted reds and oranges, there exist tiny, untold stories of creatures exploring caves, discovering forgotten relics, or sharing a quiet moment, far from the heroics of the day. Perhaps a forgotten friendship blossoms, or a simple act of bravery goes unnoticed by the world, its impact subtle yet enduring. These moments are carried gently by the universe, tucked into folds of time that are invisible but persistent. Even the smallest incident, unnoticed by anyone, contributes to the subtle rhythm of ooh, a quiet pulse that continues to echo through memory and imagination. We can think of these spaces as the delicate pauses in a storyteller's breath, the gentle intervals that give life to the narrative without demanding attention. In the silence, possibilities bloom. Adventures that never happened. Conversations that were imagined but never spoken. Fleeting glimpses of heroism or mischief that did not make it to the screen. All of these inhabit the same quiet expanse, coexisting with the stories we do know. And because these moments are not bound by the need to be complete, they are free, floating gently, soft and unpressured, forming a subtle undercurrent beneath the events we have witnessed. It is here in these quiet spaces that the imagination can wander most freely. Without the constraints of plot or continuity, stories can breathe, stretch, and unfold in unexpected ways. Perhaps Finn practices a new sword technique in a clearing far from view, or Jake experiments with a new magical shape in the stillness of the night. Maybe a minor character, one who only appeared for a fleeting instant, experiences a small adventure that leaves a faint ripple in the broader world. These spaces allow us to imagine the fullness of ooh beyond what is shown, to explore the richness of life that continues quietly, patiently, in the background of the world we know. And yet, there is a subtle poignancy in these unseen moments. Because they are untold, they are quiet, their energy soft and almost imperceptible. They are not diminished, but they exist in a state of gentle suspension, waiting for the consciousness of a dreamer, a storyteller, or a listener to acknowledge them. In this sense, the spaces between the episodes are sacred. They are a liminal realm, a place where the known and unknown touch, where memory and imagination blend seamlessly, and where the quiet hum of possibility fills the night air. Imagine wandering through these spaces as if walking in a vast starlit meadow. Each patch of darkness holds a hidden bloom, a story that was never spoken, its petals soft and delicate, opening only for the gentle curiosity of the mind. The wind carries faint hints of dialogue, laughter, or music from moments that might have been. Even without form, these untold adventures are palpable, a tender undercurrent that enriches the stories we have already witnessed. They remind us that the life of ooh is far more expansive than what appears on screen, that the world holds infinite nuances and subtleties, quietly humming in the spaces we cannot see. As we drift further into the spaces between episodes, it becomes clear that these quiet intervals are not simply voids, but gentle reservoirs of possibility. Each untold moment carries a subtle energy, a soft vibration that echoes faintly across ooh. Perhaps in one of these hidden spaces, a creature long forgotten wanders a moonlit meadow, curious and cautious, discovering flowers that only bloom once every 100 years. Or maybe a minor hero takes a solitary journey across the mountains, learning something small yet profound that never touches the pages of our known stories. These events may never be witnessed, yet they contribute quietly to the pulse of the world, threading together ooh's vast and intricate web of life in ways we can only feel in the imagination. In these gaps, the ordinary and the extraordinary coexist seamlessly. The clatter of a dropped teacup, the shimmer of a distant star reflected in a lake, the flutter of wings across a quiet canyon, each carries a subtle story, unnoticed by the bustling events we are used to observing. And though these moments lack the spectacle of grand adventure, they hold a quiet kind of magic, a softer rhythm that hums beneath the surface of ooh. These are the breaths between action, the stillness that gives weight and depth to the chaos and heroism we remember. And in the stillness, we begin to understand that these spaces themselves are alive, forming a gentle undercurrent that carries memory and imagination together in a tender, enduring rhythm. It is easy to overlook these hidden intervals because they do not demand attention. They exist without fanfare, flowing quietly like a river beneath the surface of the visible world. Yet their influence is profound. Perhaps a quiet, untold day in the Ice Kingdom shapes the subtle melancholy of its residents, lending depth to the stories we do know. Maybe a fleeting, imagined adventure in the Fire Kingdom leaves a shimmer of warmth that flickers in the corner of our consciousness when we remember other events. These unseen moments ripple through ooh, subtle but enduring, like the echo of a bell across a vast and silent valley. One of the most fascinating aspects of these spaces is how they interact with memory itself. The mind, in its wandering state, can gently reach into these intervals, brushing against fragments of untold adventures. A laugh that was never heard, a small act of courage that went unobserved, a tender glance between friends that never appeared on screen. All of these can be glimpsed if the imagination is quiet and patient. In this way, the spaces between episodes serve as portals for the mind, allowing us to expand our experience of ooh beyond what is recorded and into what is felt. They remind us that storytelling is not confined to the boundaries of episodes, and that even the untold has a life waiting to be discovered in the quiet recesses of thought. Perhaps, in a way, these spaces are also a mirror. They reflect the unspoken parts of ourselves, the ideas, dreams, and emotions we hold quietly, waiting for expression. Just as untold adventures drift softly through ooh, our own imaginings can wander freely in these intervals, shaping and reshaping the world in subtle, tender ways. We become co-creators of these hidden stories, our consciousness brushing against the threads of possibility, breathing life into moments that have existed only in potential. In the hush of these spaces, memory and imagination dance together, forming a tapestry that is as expansive as it is intimate. And yet there is a certain humility to this process. The spaces between episodes do not seek recognition, and they do not demand our attention. They exist patiently, a quiet reservoir of possibility and reflection. They remind us that the universe is generous with its stories, offering more than can ever be seen or spoken. And in this generosity there is a comfort, a sense that even when a tale is forgotten, even when a moment slips beyond the boundaries of what we know, it is still preserved in the gentle hum of possibility, ready to be felt, imagined, or remembered again. We might imagine walking through ooh during these quiet intervals, noticing the subtle shifts that hint at the presence of untold stories. Perhaps the wind carries the soft rustle of a forgotten conversation, or a ripple moves across the pond, reflecting not only the moon but the faint shimmer of adventures that never reach the light. The mountains, the forests, the rivers, all hold traces of these quiet moments, gentle reminders that life is continuous, layered, and infinitely richer than what appears on the surface. In this way, The spaces between episodes become more than empty intervals. They are the invisible threads that connect the known stories to the vast, unseen expanse of imagination. And as we continue to drift here, we begin to sense the profound beauty of these hidden realms. The quiet hum of untold adventures is not lonely. It is gentle, soothing, and full of potential. It invites us to slow down, to notice, and to honor the subtle magic that exists beyond the boundaries of what we see. In these spaces, the forgotten is not lost, and the untold is not absent. Everything hums softly, contributing to the vast, intricate lattice of ooze memory, each pulse of possibility adding to the gentle rhythm of a world that is always alive, always dreaming, and always waiting to be rediscovered. As we drift further into these quiet intervals, it becomes easier to imagine that the spaces between episodes are not merely passive voids, but gentle conduits, carrying untold adventures into the unseen expanse of the universe. Each forgotten encounter, each fleeting moment of joy, courage, or curiosity travels softly along invisible currents, eventually merging with the subtle resonance we have come to know as the cosmic echo. These intervals are the gentle channels through which memory flows, carrying the essence of stories that never reach the light, yet persist quietly, patiently, waiting to be felt once more. Perhaps in these spaces the passage of time is slower, softer. A day in ooh that was never recorded may stretch longer in the quiet, allowing its moments to linger, each breath and step infused with subtle magic. A stroll through a forgotten meadow, the glimmer of sunlight on dew-soaked grass, the gentle flutter of leaves stirred by a passing breeze. All these carry the quiet weight of untold tales. They whisper gently to the mind, nudging imagination to wander and reconstruct what it might have been. The spaces between episodes are thus both sanctuary and stage, a place where possibilities unfold without urgency, where memory and imagination meet in delicate harmony. In some ways, these intervals are a testament to the depth of the Adventure Time universe. The stories we have watched, the adventures we have witnessed, exist not in isolation, but as part of a broader, subtler network of events and possibilities. Every untold story contributes to the texture of ooh, even if no one is there to witness it. Perhaps the laughter of a candy citizen echoes faintly across the hills, a private moment that was never recorded but still leaves a mark on the world. Maybe a quiet act of heroism, performed in the solitude of a hidden glade, resonates softly, influencing events in ways that are invisible yet enduring. These spaces are the quiet scaffolding of ooh, supporting the adventures we do know while cradling those that exist only in potential. It is in these hidden realms that the notion of forgotten stories becomes deeply comforting. Even when a tale slips beyond sight, it is never lost. It continues to exist, softly vibrating in the unseen layers of the world. Every smile unshared, every tear unnoticed, every adventure left untold, joins the gentle hum of the universe, contributing to the quiet music of life that plays endlessly beneath the surface. We might not perceive each individual thread, but together they form a rich, intricate resonance that shapes the emotional landscape of ooh, giving depth, warmth, and meaning to everything that unfolds. The spaces between episodes also remind us of the intimate relationship between presence and absence. Absence does not erase existence, it frames it. A character who does not appear in one story is not gone. They linger in these silent intervals, a soft memory threading through the universe. The echoes of their presence touch other stories subtly, influencing them in ways that are gentle and unseen, like a breeze stirring the surface of a pond. And when we allow ourselves to imagine these moments, we participate in a quiet act of resurrection, bringing life to what was nearly forgotten and acknowledging the delicate persistence of memory. Even the smallest gestures, the most fleeting encounters, are imbued with this quiet magic. Perhaps BMO hums a tune while exploring the tree fort at night, unnoticed but leaving a trace of melody that drifts softly into the spaces between adventures. Maybe a quiet conversation between Finn and Jake, something unscripted and ordinary, forms a subtle thread that contributes to the hum of Oo's unseen rhythm. Each of these moments, though unrecorded, exists in the gentle fabric of reality, a reminder that stories are not defined solely by what is told, but by what is lived, remembered, and imagined, however softly or subtly. In contemplating these quiet spaces, we begin to see how they converge with the cosmic echo. The threads of untold moments flow outward, gently joining the larger tapestry of memory, forming a vast, interconnected network of potential and resonance. Forgotten adventures, imagined possibilities, and small, unnoticed acts all drift into this echo space, contributing their subtle vibrations to a symphony that is greater than any single story. The cosmic echo, then, is not merely a repository of forgotten tales. It is the living, breathing heartbeat of all that has been, all that is quietly remembered, and all that is yet to be imagined. There is a gentle poetry in this realization. The spaces between episodes are not empty. They are full of possibility, of resonance, of quiet life. They are the intervals where imagination stretches its wings, where stories fold and unfold, where the pulse of Ooh continues in a softer, quieter rhythm. And as we linger in these spaces, we can almost feel the stories brushing against us, inviting us to notice, to imagine, to become part of the gentle flow that connects every forgotten moment to the vast, subtle heartbeat of the universe. Walking through these intervals in our minds, we sense that the very silence is alive. The hush between adventures is not absence. It is presence in a different form. Each quiet moment carries the weight of possibility, a soft invitation to wander, to reflect, to dream. Even in their stillness, these spaces hold the tender essence of adventure, magic, and the lives of characters, both familiar and long forgotten. And in honoring these silent intervals, we become co-creators of the unseen, allowing imagination to breathe life into what has quietly waited patiently for the gentle touch of recognition. As we drift even deeper into the spaces between episodes, we begin to notice how these quiet intervals shape the very soul of Ooh. The places where stories were never told are not empty voids. They are gentle reservoirs of possibility, subtle landscapes where imagination can wander freely. Perhaps a hidden glade in the nightosphere hums softly with adventures that never reached our eyes, where creatures explored, learned, and lived in ways that left only the faintest imprint. Or maybe the mountains in distant lands hold silent moments of introspection for wandering heroes, their quiet courage echoing softly through the hills, shaping the unseen rhythms of the world. These intervals are alive with a tender, slow magic, a kind of memory that does not demand recognition, but quietly persists, waiting for imagination to notice its presence. In these unseen realms, the ordinary and extraordinary intermingle seamlessly. A moment of quiet companionship between characters might ripple outward, influencing unseen paths, carrying subtle energy that shapes future adventures in ways we cannot always perceive. Perhaps a fleeting glance exchanged between friends in the tree fort leaves a trace in the fabric of the universe, or a small act of kindness in a distant kingdom drifts through the cosmos soft as moonlight, touching other stories in ways invisible but profound. The spaces between episodes are delicate, Yet they are essential. They form the quiet scaffolding upon which the known tales of ooh rest, giving them depth, resonance, and texture. These intervals are also deeply reflective, reminding us that absence does not equate to loss. A story that is not told still exists, softly humming beneath the surface of reality. Its pulse is quiet, but it is steady, carrying the essence of what has been and what could have been. Even the smallest, seemingly insignificant moments, the flutter of a leaf, a dropped pencil, the echo of a footstep in an empty corridor, contribute to the subtle rhythm of memory and imagination. In this way, the universe preserves not only the grand adventures, but also the tiny, tender fragments that give life its quiet beauty. We might imagine that these spaces between episodes are also portals of inspiration. When we allow ourselves to linger in them, we can feel the gentle tug of possibility, a forgotten detail, a minor event, a quiet moment of reflection. All these can awaken the mind, inviting us to reconstruct the untold, to imagine what was left unseen. Perhaps Finn wandered through a meadow at twilight, imagining an adventure that never unfolded, or Jake experimented with a new form of magic in the silent hours, unnoticed but alive in the world. These intervals allow us to expand our understanding of ooh beyond the episodes themselves, revealing the richness of life that continues quietly, patiently, in the background of the stories we have witnessed. In this sense, the spaces between episodes are sacred, liminal realms where memory, imagination, and possibility converge. They are neither past nor future, neither fully present nor absent. They are the soft, quiet threads that bind the universe together, carrying the essence of untold stories, waiting for the gentle recognition of a mind willing to notice. And when we acknowledge them even quietly in our thoughts, we breathe life into what has patiently waited, allowing these subtle adventures to resonate once more. We can also see these intervals as mirrors reflecting our own inner landscapes. Just as untold moments drift quietly through ooh, our own thoughts, dreams, and imaginings drift through the spaces of our minds, forming subtle patterns that shape how we experience the world. In this way, the unseen adventures of ooh are not separate from us. They are intertwined with our capacity to dream, to imagine, and to remember. The spaces between episodes are invitations to wander, to explore, and to become co-creators of the quiet, unseen life of the universe. And it is in this quiet participation that the cosmic echo begins to take shape. The untold adventures, the fleeting moments, the whispers of possibility, all these gentle currents converge, flowing softly into a larger resonance that encompasses every story, seen and unseen. The spaces between episodes are the tributaries of this echo, carrying fragments of memory into the vast, shimmering network of untold narratives. Forgotten tales do not vanish. They drift gently along these currents, eventually merging with the subtle, luminous pulse of the cosmic echo itself, a soft, enduring heartbeat that preserves the essence of all that has been imagined. As we linger here, we begin to sense the profound tenderness of these unseen intervals. They are quiet but vibrant, subtle but alive, carrying the soft glow of infinite possibility. They remind us that the life of ooh extends far beyond the screen, beyond what has been recorded or remembered. Every untold moment, every half-imagined adventure, every subtle ripple of magic contributes to a rich, delicate symphony that hums quietly through the universe. These spaces teach us patience, reflection, and reverence for the unseen. They remind us that stories, even when unspoken, continue to exist, softly shaping the world, quietly waiting to be remembered, imagined, and embraced once more. And so, as we drift through the spaces between episodes, we become aware that ooh is never truly silent. Even in the moments where no action is witnessed, where no voice speaks, where no hero strides across the land, life hums quietly in the background. The untold, the unseen, and the forgotten all converge here, flowing gently into the cosmic echo, forming a tender, enduring resonance. And in this gentle hum, we find comfort, knowing that even the stories that exist only in the spaces between episodes continue to live, to breathe, and to shimmer softly in the vast, delicate tapestry of adventure time. As we settle into this gentle journey tonight, let us drift even further beyond the threads of memory, beyond the spaces between episodes, into something vast and almost immeasurable, the cosmic echo. This is a place not bound by the walls of kingdoms, the turn of days, or the edges of what we call reality. It is a realm where all stories, both remembered and forgotten, converge, intertwine, and hum softly together, forming a resonance that is at once infinite and intimately tender. Imagine it as a soft, luminous tide, moving slowly through the quiet of existence, carrying with it every laugh, tear, whisper, and adventure that has ever occurred in the world of ooh. The cosmic echo is not a place one arrives at by walking, nor by following a map. It is discovered through stillness, through gentle observation, through the patience of letting imagination drift freely. In this space, time folds in upon itself. Past adventures can brush against possibilities that were never realized. Minor characters, untold subplots, fleeting emotions, all these flow together in an intricate, delicate dance. A story that was forgotten by the world does not vanish here. It persists, softly pulsing like a heartbeat, waiting to be noticed, to be felt, to be breathed into life once more. Imagine, if you can, a vast night sky stretching infinitely in all directions. Each star is a story, some bright, some faint, some flickering in and out like a memory struggling to be remembered. Some stars hum with the joyous energy of heroic feats. Others shimmer with quiet sorrow, the soft echo of small, almost invisible acts of kindness or courage. And between these stars there is a gentle, glowing mist, a luminous haze formed from the untold, the imagined, the possibilities that never fully unfolded. This mist is the essence of the cosmic echo itself. It is soft, quiet, yet profoundly alive, carrying the gentle weight of countless narratives, quietly shaping the emotional and imaginative landscape of the universe. In this echo, we can sense a kind of gentle order, though it is not structured in the way we normally understand. Stories are not linear. They do not follow strict beginnings or endings. Instead, they flow, intersect, and spiral, folding in on themselves like the petals of a vast, infinite flower. A moment of bravery in one forgotten tale might ripple outward, brushing softly against the echoes of a different adventure, influencing it subtly, invisibly. A quiet conversation between characters that never made it to the screen might hum faintly in resonance with a heroic deed that shaped the fate of the Candy Kingdom. Everything is interconnected, each pulse contributing to the subtle, tender rhythm of the cosmic echo. There is a softness here that is almost tangible. It is not loud or insistent. It does not demand recognition or understanding. Rather, it invites reflection and imagination. As we drift through this space, we may sense hints of stories we have never seen, fragments of dialogue, glimpses of magic, or faint silhouettes of adventures that might have been. Perhaps a half-remembered battle in the Ice Kingdom leaves a subtle shimmer of frost that dances across the cosmic echo, or a quiet act of friendship between two unseen creatures flows gently into the resonance, casting soft ripples across countless untold narratives. All of these contribute to the living, breathing symphony that is the cosmic echo. In contemplating this space, we begin to realize that it is both intimate and vast. It is vast in that it stretches beyond the known boundaries of ooh, beyond the edges of recorded history, and beyond even the limits of imagination as we commonly understand it. Yet it is intimate in that it responds to attention, to gentle observation, to the quiet focus of a mind willing to notice. The stories here are delicate, patient, and tender. They do not fade with neglect, but they do awaken with recognition. To linger here is to become aware of the profound interconnectedness of every act, every choice, every fleeting emotion, and every imagined possibility in the world of adventure time. Perhaps the most beautiful aspect of the cosmic echo is that it is not constrained by judgment. There are no better or lesser stories here. Every tale, no matter how small or overlooked, is preserved in gentle resonance. The forgotten hero, the minor villain, the passing companion, the silent observer, all exist together, humming softly in the quiet expanse. And when we allow ourselves to drift here, to let our consciousness brush against these gentle threads, we begin to sense that the cosmic echo is more than a repository of memory. It is a living, breathing organism of imagination itself, infinitely patient, infinitely tender, infinitely aware. In this way, the cosmic echo is not only a place, but a feeling. It is the quiet hum that lingers after a story is told. It is the soft pulse that remains when laughter has faded and the adventures have ended. It is the gentle space where the universe remembers, where the untold and the forgotten continue to exist, softly vibrating with the essence of experience. Even when no one speaks of a tale, even when no one watches an adventure unfold, the cosmic echo carries it, tenderly preserving its memory, allowing it to resonate gently with anyone willing to listen, to imagine, or simply to feel. We might envision drifting slowly through this space, like floating on a still lake beneath a star-filled sky. Each story is a ripple in the water, each memory a faint glimmer, each possibility a delicate shimmer that catches the eye if we look closely. Some glimmers are bright, almost overwhelming, carrying the weight of grand adventures. Others are subtle, like the flicker of candlelight, soft and intimate, hinting at moments that were never shared but remain precious nonetheless. The beauty of the cosmic echo is that it holds them all without distinction, creating a quiet, harmonious resonance that is both infinite and comforting. That is to say, as we drift further into the cosmic echo, we begin to notice how the stories themselves seem to breathe, to ripple gently in response to one another. It is as if each adventure, each fleeting moment, carries a subtle vibration that resonates through the vast expanse, softly touching other tales in ways that are invisible yet profoundly meaningful. A heroic act in one forgotten corner of Ur might ripple outward, brushing against the faint pulse of a quiet moment elsewhere, merging briefly to create a new resonance, a delicate harmonic in the infinite symphony of memory. The stories are not isolated. They are intimately entangled, forming a lattice of subtle influence and quiet magic. Perhaps in this space, we might glimpse the life of characters we thought we knew completely, discovering nuances that never appeared on the screen. Imagine Princess Bubblegum, softly humming to herself while experimenting with a delicate chemical reaction that never became part of an episode, or Finn practicing a new sword technique in the hush of a twilight clearing. Maybe Jake shapes himself into something curious and playful, stretching and twisting in ways that leave faint, tender ripples in the cosmic echo. These moments, small and intimate, are just as vital to the pulse of the universe as the grand battles or dramatic revelations. They are the soft undercurrent, the quiet heartbeat that gives depth, texture, and warmth to the world of ooh. And within the cosmic echo, time itself behaves differently. Moments are not confined to strict linearity. A memory of the past might brush against the possibility that never happened, or a dream of the future might ripple gently backward, infusing forgotten events with subtle significance. The threads of stories intersect, intertwine, and spiral, creating a multi-dimensional tapestry where the boundaries of beginning and ending blur. This is why the cosmic echo feels both immense and intimate at once. It stretches infinitely, yet each pulse of memory carries a personal, almost tender weight, as if the universe itself treasures every laugh, every tear, every quiet act of bravery or curiosity. In this quiet symphony, even the smallest and most overlooked adventures find their place. Consider the passing glance of a background character in a bustling city, or the faint rustle of leaves in a forest that was never fully explored. Perhaps a single act of kindness or mischief, unnoticed at the time, sends subtle vibrations through the cosmic echo, gently influencing other stories. In this way, the unseen and the unrecorded carry as much significance as the celebrated moments of heroism and grand adventure. Every story, no matter how small, hums quietly in harmony with the others, contributing to a delicate resonance that is both vast and deeply comforting. There is also a soft poetry to the way the cosmic echo preserves these tales. It does not demand our attention or recognition, yet it waits patiently, gently, for the mind willing to notice. A forgotten joke, a whispered promise, the subtle gesture of a hand or smile, all of these continue to exist in the quiet folds of the echo, waiting to brush against the consciousness capable of feeling them. It is a space that rewards calm, patient observation, where imagination and memory intertwine, and where the tender resonance of stories long forgotten can be felt in ways that are almost like a lullaby, soft, comforting, and endlessly soothing. In some ways, the cosmic echo serves as a mirror of our own inner worlds, just as the untold adventures of ooh drift gently in the space. Our own thoughts, dreams, and quiet imaginings flow alongside them. Every gentle hum of possibility, every soft pulse of memory is reflected in the echo, intertwining with the imagination and shaping a tapestry that is uniquely personal, yet intimately connected to the broader universe of stories. It is as if the act of noticing, of quietly attending to these stories, breathes life into them once more, allowing them to resonate softly in our minds and hearts. We might imagine floating through this space, weightless, letting the echoes wash over us. Some pulse brightly with energy, carrying the thrill of heroic deeds. Others flicker softly, gentle and intimate, holding the essence of quiet contemplation, fleeting joy, or tender sorrow. There is no hierarchy here, no judgment. All stories coexist, harmonizing in a gentle symphony that is at once infinite and deeply personal. And as we drift among them, we begin to sense that the cosmic echo is not simply a place, but a presence, a subtle consciousness that cradles every story, every memory, and every possibility with quiet reverence. As we drift even deeper into the cosmic echo, we begin to sense how it cradles not only the stories we remember, but those that slipped quietly through the cracks of memory, adventures that were never recorded, conversations that were imagined but never spoken, the subtle gestures of kindness or mischief that went unnoticed. All of these float gently in the echo, preserved in delicate resonance. They hum softly, patiently, waiting for a mind, a dreamer, or a storyteller to brush against them and awaken them from their quiet slumber. And in this way, even the smallest, seemingly inconsequential moments gain a quiet immortality, their essence folded gently into the infinite tapestry of ooh's universe. Perhaps in some forgotten corner of the echo, we might find a half-imagined adventure of Finn, wandering through a foggy forest he never reached, guided by the faint glow of a butterfly that exists only here. Jake might be experimenting with a new shape or stretching across the horizon of the echo, curious, playful, leaving ripples that drift softly into countless other possibilities. Princess Bubblegum might be softly humming while conducting a gentle experiment, her presence radiating warmth, contributing to the subtle hum of memory that carries far beyond what any single story could hold. Even characters who appeared only briefly, whose names were barely spoken, have their place here, their echoes adding delicate threads to the infinite resonance of the cosmic echo. Time in this space is not linear. Moments overlap, fold in on themselves, and echo forward and backward, creating a delicate network of causality and imagination that defies ordinary understanding. A quiet reflection in one era might mingle with the spark of an idea from another, forming a unique pulse that is neither past nor future, but a soft presence of now. This is why the cosmic echo feels infinite, yet intimate, overwhelming, yet tender. Every story, every possibility, every act of imagination contributes to its rhythm, forming a gentle symphony that carries the essence of the Adventure Time universe in all its complexity, beauty, and subtlety. Even the tragedies, the losses, the quiet sorrows are preserved here, not as harsh reminders, but as soft, necessary notes that give the echo depth and resonance. A moment of quiet heartbreak, a lost friendship, or an unfulfilled adventure adds layers to the tapestry, creating patterns that shimmer faintly, offering lessons and reflection in a gentle, non-intrusive way. In the cosmic echo, nothing is wasted, nothing is discarded. Every emotion, every act, every moment, however fleeting or overlooked, is folded into the infinite lattice of resonance, contributing to the soft, enduring heartbeat of the universe. And there is a particular magic in how the untold and the forgotten eventually converge with the remembered. Stories that were once lost drift gently through the cosmic echo, sometimes touching other forgotten tales, sometimes brushing against events we know, forming subtle harmonies that enrich the fabric of ooh. In this gentle interplay, the universe seems to reassure us that no story truly disappears, that every adventure, whether celebrated or overlooked, has a place, a soft vibration that will continue to exist and resonate quietly, patiently, infinitely. We might picture the cosmic echo as a vast ocean, each story a droplet of water, some large and radiant, others small and delicate. Each ripple carries energy outward, intersecting with others, forming gentle waves of resonance that ripple endlessly. The water itself is luminous, shimmering softly with the glow of memory and imagination, carrying both joy and sorrow, courage and curiosity, quiet reflection and wild adventure. Floating in this ocean, we feel cradled, enveloped by the soft pulse of countless stories, each one contributing to the quiet, harmonious rhythm of the whole. The echo also reminds us of the beauty of impermanence. Stories may be forgotten, characters may fade from memory, and episodes may be unwatched, yet the essence of all these lives continues here, transformed but not diminished. The cosmic echo is patient, preserving the vitality of imagination in a way that transcends the limitations of time, attention, and memory. It is a space where the life of ooh persists, softly, tenderly, infinitely, waiting for the gentle recognition of those who listen, imagine, and dream. And as we drift here, we begin to understand a profound truth. The cosmic echo is not separate from us. It is not only a repository for the world of Adventure Time, it is also a mirror for the mind, a reflection of imagination itself. It invites us to wander, to notice, to attend to the soft pulse of possibility, to honor the quiet life of stories that continue beyond sight. In this space, we realize that the act of imagining, of remembering, of quietly acknowledging a tale is itself a form of participation in the gentle, enduring rhythm of the universe. And so, as we linger in the soft luminescence of the cosmic echo, we feel a tender reassurance. Even when stories are forgotten, even when adventures are never witnessed, the universe remembers. Every laughter, every tear, every act of bravery or curiosity continues to hum gently, folded into a delicate, infinite tapestry. The cosmic echo is a living, breathing presence, a tender heartbeat beneath the surface of everything. A reminder that the world is far more alive, far more expansive, and far more magical than it may seem. In this quiet hum, we find comfort, a gentle lullaby whispered by the universe itself. Even in the silence of forgotten moments, the pulse of stories continues, softly guiding imagination, memory, and wonder in a tender, unbroken resonance. And in that resonance, we realize that adventure time, in all its beauty and subtlety, will always exist, not only in the tales we remember, but in the soft, infinite hum of the cosmic echo, forever alive, endlessly patient, and infinitely comforting. And as we continue to float through the cosmic echo, we notice how even the faintest, most fleeting fragments of stories leave a trace, a shimmer that persists quietly, waiting to be felt. Perhaps it is the memory of a single day Finn spent wandering alone in a forest, his footsteps soft against moss and leaves, or Jake experimenting with a magical form that he would never show to anyone else. These small, intimate moments, though never seen by the world, drift gently through the echo, interweaving with countless other threads to form an intricate web of life and imagination. Every sigh, every whispered thought, every unspoken sentiment finds a place here, softly vibrating in harmony with all that has ever been. In the cosmic echo, even the boundaries between characters and their experiences blur. Finn's courage might hum alongside a minor villain's fleeting moment of reflection, creating a delicate resonance neither fully heroic nor fully mischievous, but deeply human in its subtlety. BMO's quiet songs might ripple across the unseen layers of ooh, brushing gently against Jake's experimental shapes, or the wistful musings of Marceline as she floats through shadowed skies. These currents intertwine, creating layers of emotion and possibility, like overlapping ripples on a still, infinite lake. Each vibration is small, yet collectively they form a gentle, enduring pulse that carries the entirety of Ooh's untold and remembered stories. The cosmic echo is not only a place of memory, but also of gentle transformation. Stories do not remain static here. They shift, unfold, and reimagine themselves in soft, quiet ways. A tale of triumph might gain depth as it mingles with moments of subtle sorrow. A fleeting joke never shared might illuminate an entirely new perspective when brushed against by another memory. The echo allows stories to breathe, to exist in a state of potential, endlessly shifting and harmonizing with the infinite possibilities of imagination. This is why it feels alive, as though the universe itself is softly breathing through every story, every thought, every unrecorded adventure. It is here in these quiet currents that the cosmic echo shows us the profound beauty of impermanence and persistence. Stories may be forgotten, adventures may slip from our immediate attention, yet in this luminous expanse they remain. They do not fade. They only transform, drifting gently, softly, waiting for someone to notice, to imagine, to breathe them into awareness once more. In this way, the cosmic echo is patient beyond measure, endlessly tender and infinitely comforting. It teaches us that life, memory, and imagination are not lost simply because they are not seen. They endure softly and quietly in the fabric of existence itself. And perhaps this is why the echo feels so intimate. Even as it stretches infinitely, each story is both individual and interconnected, a singular thread in a vast tapestry. The courage of a hero, the subtle mischief of a minor character, the unrecorded conversation between two friends, all resonate gently, touching one another in ways that are soft but profound. These intersections are never forced. They drift together naturally, creating patterns of meaning and emotion that are felt rather than observed. It is a quiet, meditative beauty, an ongoing lullaby of the universe, sung in whispers rather than in song, a song that we can feel in the gentle pulse of imagination itself. We might imagine the cosmic echo as an infinite library without walls, without shelves, where stories float freely in soft, shimmering light. There are no books, no boundaries, no markers, only the luminous resonance of each tale, drifting, shifting, interweaving. Some pulse brightly, carrying the vibrancy of heroic deeds. Others flicker subtly, soft and intimate, holding the quiet weight of moments unnoticed by anyone in the world outside the echo. Together they form a gentle, harmonizing rhythm that is both soothing and endlessly expansive, a place where imagination and memory converge in perfect equilibrium. Within this vast resonance, even the smallest gestures gain significance. Perhaps a single act of kindness by an unseen character sends gentle ripples across the echo, brushing softly against moments of bravery or sorrow, forming harmonies that are almost imperceptible, yet profoundly moving. Perhaps an unspoken thought, a fleeting curiosity, or a quiet dream touches another tale, influencing it subtly, gently, as though the universe itself were quietly rearranging its elements to maintain balance, beauty, and coherence. In this way, the cosmic echo is not static. It is alive, responsive, and infinitely tender, cradling every nuance of life in its soft, boundless expanse. And as we continue to drift through it, we begin to notice the emotional layers woven throughout. Joy hums alongside sorrow. Courage resonates with doubt. Friendship mingles with fleeting loneliness. Even mistakes, failures, and overlooked moments contribute to the gentle music of the echo, softening and deepening the resonance, reminding us that every experience, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant, carries quiet weight and enduring beauty. It is a reflection of life itself in all its complexity, tenderness, and wonder. Finally, we sense that the cosmic echo is not simply a place, but a form of presence. It listens patiently, cradles softly, and remembers endlessly. Stories live here beyond our perception, yet they are never truly alone. They hum gently, waiting for the minds willing to notice them, to imagine them, to honor them. And in that gentle acknowledgement, they resonate more vividly, becoming part of the infinite, tender heartbeat of the universe. The cosmic echo is vast, luminous, patient, and intimate all at once, a gentle lullaby that carries the essence of Adventure Time beyond the boundaries of time, memory, and imagination. As we drift further into the gentle expanse of the cosmic echo, let us turn our attention to those who dwell within it, quietly watching over the whispers of stories that have slipped beyond memory. These are the guardians of forgotten tales, silent and patient entities whose presence is felt rather than seen, who cradle the echoes of adventures that were never told, moments that were almost lost, and fragments of imagination that might otherwise fade into quiet nothingness. They do not demand notice, yet their care gives life to the vast, soft resonance of the cosmic echo itself. We might imagine them not as beings with sharp edges or rigid forms, but as subtle presences, flowing like light or mist through the unseen layers of memory. Some resemble shapes we can recognize, a shadow of a familiar creature, a fleeting silhouette of a long-forgotten hero, a soft glow that drifts across the unseen landscape of the universe. Others are formless, more like currents of energy, gentle pulses of awareness that weave themselves around stories, guiding them, preserving them, and ensuring that nothing is truly lost. These guardians are as patient as time itself, moving slowly, quietly, like the turning of a page in a book that exists beyond the boundaries of our world. Perhaps one of their primary roles is to nurture the stories of those who never received the recognition of the world outside the cosmic echo. A minor character in a single episode, a brief encounter between friends, an unspoken joke. All of these are treasured here, tenderly preserved. The guardians carry them like soft embers, ensuring that they continue to hum quietly in resonance with all that surrounds them. Even the smallest, seemingly inconsequential tales hold significance, and the gentle stewardship of these unseen caretakers allows the cosmic echo to maintain its intricate harmony. Some guardians might be drawn from forms we already know, yet they are imbued with a deeper purpose here. Perhaps the figure of a long-forgotten wizard drifts along invisible paths, ensuring that a minor spell, performed once and never recorded, continues to resonate in subtle ways. Maybe a shadowy creature from a brief encounter wanders the unseen expanse, carrying the memory of that moment and ensuring it continues to shimmer softly in the background of countless other tales. Each guardian, no matter how small or seemingly ordinary, plays a role in maintaining the delicate pulse of the cosmic echo, attending patiently to the subtle rhythms of untold stories. These guardians do not act with force or urgency. There is no clamor in their movements, no insistence in their care. They work quietly, as if the very act of tending requires stillness, attention, and a gentle hand. Their presence is felt more than seen, like a soft vibration beneath the surface of water, or the faint warmth of sunlight filtering through leaves at dawn. In this quiet diligence, they embody a profound reverence for imagination, memory, and the tender endurance of storytelling. They remind us that even the untold, the overlooked, and the forgotten have a place, a heartbeat, and a resonance in the universe. Some of the guardians may even interact with the stories themselves, not to alter them, but to weave coherence, to gently guide the threads so that they resonate more clearly within the echo. A fragment of dialogue that almost, when unheard, might be softly encouraged to hum alongside a heroic action from another tale, a fleeting emotion, a whispered thought. A small gesture of care might be gently highlighted, allowing it to ripple through the cosmic echo and touch countless other stories. This is not control in the sense we understand, but a delicate guidance, a way of ensuring that the infinite network of memories and possibilities remains harmonious, tender, and deeply alive. The guardians also serve as protectors of the fragile and ephemeral. Consider the stories that exist only as whispers of memory, the moments that have no form other than imagination. Without the patient care of these silent watchers, these fragile echoes might fade entirely, their resonance lost to the quiet drift of time. Yet in the presence of the guardians, even the most delicate fragments of story persist. They are held softly, like a moth resting on the palm of a gentle hand, their subtle vibrations preserved and nurtured until the mind of a dreamer or a storyteller happens to brush against them once more. Perhaps some guardians have a more playful role, subtly encouraging the imagination to wander, guiding minds toward discovery. They might flutter near a dreamer, drawing attention to a story almost forgotten, or whisper, faint hints that prompt reflection, curiosity, or creativity. Their influence is quiet, never forceful, always patient. They know that stories thrive most when allowed to unfold gently, when they are encountered with calm awareness and tender attention. In this way, the guardians foster not only preservation, but also the quiet blossoming of imagination, ensuring that each story, however small or overlooked, finds its soft resonance in the hearts of those willing to notice. And yet these guardians are not omnipotent. They do not create stories, nor do they force remembrance. They exist in the subtle space between forgetting and remembering, attending to what is already present, however faintly, ensuring that it is not lost entirely. They are the quiet custodians of possibility, the gentle keepers of the infinite tapestry, moving through the cosmic echo with patience, reverence, and a tender awareness that each story, no matter how small, has its place in the rhythm of the universe. As we linger in the presence of these gentle custodians, we begin to notice the quiet ways in which they interact with the vast web of stories drifting through the cosmic echo. They move like currents of wind through a hidden forest, unseen but profoundly felt, touching stories with a soft, guiding presence. Perhaps they nudge a forgotten memory of Finn's quiet reflection in a twilight clearing to mingle with the faint echo of a distant battle, creating subtle harmonies that ripple across the unseen expanse. Or maybe they guide the faint laughter of BMO in an untold adventure, allowing it to resonate alongside Marceline's music in a way that neither would achieve alone. Their influence is delicate, never intrusive, always gentle, as if they are tending a garden of memories, ensuring that each story flourishes softly in its own time. We can imagine that some guardians are ancient, older than the first adventures of Ooh, existing in forms that we can scarcely comprehend. They are attuned to the resonance of the universe itself, sensing the ebb and flow of imagination, the quiet currents of memory, and the tender pulse of possibility. They do not move hurriedly. There is no urgency in their purpose. They drift slowly, gracefully, attending to each whisper of story as if it were a fragile, precious flame. Their patience is infinite, their care unwavering, and in the stillness, the forgotten tales are preserved with a reverence that is almost sacred. Other guardians might be more ephemeral, born from the very stories they protect. A minor hero who appeared only for a single scene may leave behind a subtle essence, a soft pulse of awareness that drifts through the echo, carrying not only memory but also quiet guardianship of other stories. These beings are not conscious in the way we usually understand consciousness. They are the embodiment of remembrance, acting as both record and resonance, a living testament to the continuity of imagination. Their purpose is not to judge, correct, or alter, but simply to sustain, to ensure that the delicate threads of forgotten moments are never entirely lost. Perhaps one of the most remarkable aspects of the Guardians is their ability to shepherd moments that are almost imperceptible. A whispered conversation between two characters that never reached an audience may seem insignificant, yet in the hands of the Guardians, it gains a subtle life, a gentle vibration that can ripple outward, touching countless other stories. The tender flicker of emotion, the quiet spark of curiosity, or the fleeting shimmer of wonder, all these are attended to with care, woven into the larger fabric of the cosmic echo, and held there as part of the living, breathing resonance of Ooh. In this way, the Guardians are also teachers, though silently. They remind us that stories are not only defined by what is celebrated or remembered in the foreground, but by the quiet, tender moments that exist in the background, the subtleties of experience, and the fragments of imagination that might otherwise be overlooked. They show us that every act of bravery, kindness, curiosity, or reflection, no matter how fleeting, carries a resonance worth preserving. The faint hum of these echoes is amplified by their care, forming patterns that are invisible but deeply felt, a symphony that only the patient, attentive heart can truly perceive. We might picture the guardians moving along invisible paths that connect stories across time and space, guiding them with a soft touch as they weave together threads of memory and imagination. The gentle smile of a hero, the quiet contemplation of a villain, the fleeting interaction of a minor creature. Each of these is cradled with care, allowed to drift alongside others in a way that is harmonious and nurturing. Their stewardship ensures that the cosmic echo maintains balance, allowing each story to exist without being overshadowed or forgotten, creating a gentle, enduring symphony that stretches infinitely yet feels intimately close. Even the unseen tragedies, the quiet sorrows, and the almost lost moments of despair are preserved under the guardian's gentle care. They do not erase pain, but they allow it to exist softly, folded into the broader resonance of the universe. A moment of fear, a tear that was never shed in public, or a fleeting pang of regret. All are given room to breathe, to shimmer softly, and to influence the broader tapestry in subtle, meaningful ways. The guardians remind us that even these quiet shadows are essential, adding depth, contrast, and tenderness to the living, breathing storyscape of Ooh. And perhaps their most wondrous quality is patience. The guardians understand that stories unfold at their own pace. They do not rush the flow of memory or imagination. A tale may drift unnoticed for centuries, folded softly into the fabric of the cosmic echo, until the right mind, the right moment, or the gentle alignment of possibility brings it to life again. They wait, endlessly and quietly, tending to the resonance of each story, cradling it with reverence, and ensuring that nothing truly vanishes, that no adventure is ever entirely lost. As we linger in the soft, luminous presence of the guardians, we begin to perceive the full scope of their quiet influence. They do not merely preserve what has already occurred. They nurture the subtle interplay of possibility and memory, allowing stories to resonate in ways that may never be consciously recognized, but are nonetheless profoundly alive. A forgotten glance between Finn and a fleeting companion, a moment of hesitation before a crucial decision, or even a single laugh shared in passing. All of these are attended to, carefully cradled, and folded gently into the broader hum of the cosmic echo. In their watchfulness, the guardians ensure that every story, no matter how small or overlooked, continues to live in resonance with the universe. Perhaps the most tender aspect of their stewardship is the way they honor the untold adventures of those who exist quietly in the margins. The minor characters, the background heroes, the creatures who never had lines or names, they are all cherished by the guardians. Their experiences, however fleeting, are not lost, but are instead woven into the infinite tapestry of the cosmic echo. In this gentle preservation, these subtle lives gain a soft, enduring immortality. Even when the wider world forgets, the guardians remember, maintaining a resonance that stretches across the unseen currents of time, imagination, and memory. We might imagine the guardians as delicate threads of light, weaving through the shadows, touching each forgotten story with a soft, almost imperceptible hand. Sometimes they may gather together fragments of stories that seem disconnected, softly aligning them so that their resonance can harmonize with other echoes. A minor misadventure in a distant forest may intertwine with a quiet act of heroism, forming a gentle pattern of meaning that enhances both tales without diminishing either. This subtle weaving creates a symphony of stories where each note, however faint, contributes to the infinite, tender rhythm of the universe. The Guardians also have a curious relationship with the minds of dreamers and storytellers who encounter the cosmic echo. They seem to know when a story is ready to be remembered, when a fragment is prepared to resonate with imagination once more. Perhaps a dreamer lying in bed will sense the faint pulse of a forgotten adventure, or a storyteller might feel the gentle tug of an untold tale brushing against their consciousness. The Guardians do not dictate the form or timing of these interactions. They merely facilitate the quiet flow of resonance, ensuring that when attention is given, it meets the stories in their most tender and vibrant state. It is fascinating to consider how their influence might stretch across vast distances of space and time. A minor character in an episode long forgotten may ripple through the cosmic echo, brushing against events far removed from their own story. Perhaps a soft hum of courage from a hero in one timeline resonates with a minor act of curiosity in another, creating a subtle alignment of meaning that enriches the fabric of the universe. The Guardians guide these interactions delicately, allowing each story to retain its integrity, while gently weaving connections that enhance the quiet beauty and complexity of the cosmic echo. Even the errors, the regrets, the almost disasters are attended to with patience. The Guardians do not erase these moments. Instead, they allow them to exist softly as part of the overall resonance. A fleeting failure, a moment of doubt, a misstep in a hero's journey, all are preserved not as blemishes, but as essential notes in the symphony of life. In doing so, the Guardians teach a subtle lesson. Every experience, no matter how small or imperfect, carries value and contributes to the delicate, enduring harmony of the universe. There is also a sense of gentle playfulness among some of these custodians. Some Guardians might whisper hints to dreamers, nudging them toward untold adventures, or flicker softly in the peripheral vision of someone imagining ooze landscapes, sparking curiosity and quiet wonder. These interactions are never forceful or insistent. They are invitations to explore, to notice, and to imagine, encouraging engagement with the infinite possibilities of the cosmic echo without ever demanding it. Through this, the Guardians foster creativity and reflection, nurturing a subtle co-creation between story and imagination. Perhaps the most remarkable quality of the Guardians is their patience. They understand that stories unfold in their own time, and that attention, once given, can awaken a resonance that has been waiting for centuries. They wait without urgency, tending to the echoes of adventures that might never be consciously recalled, allowing them to shimmer softly until a mind, a dream, or a storyteller happens to notice. In this way, they preserve the quiet, tender immortality of every tale, no matter how small, almost lost, or never shared. And so, as we drift here in the luminous, whispering presence of the Guardians, we begin to feel a profound reassurance. The stories that slipped through memory, the adventures never witnessed, the moments almost forgotten, all are safe. They are cradled by gentle, patient hands, their resonance preserved in the quiet symphony of the cosmic echo. We sense that even in the deepest silence, nothing is truly lost. Every fragment of imagination, every pulse of memory, every unspoken adventure continues to exist, softly humming in harmony with the infinite, tender rhythm of ooh. In their care, the Guardians teach us to honor the small, the quiet, and the unseen. They remind us that stories live not only when they are told, but also when they are preserved, remembered softly, and attended to with gentle awareness. They are the silent witnesses to the universe, the keepers of tenderness and memory, the patient shepherds of imagination itself. And in this quiet vigilance, the cosmic echo is complete, infinitely resonant, and endlessly comforting, a place where every story, remembered or forgotten, finds its gentle home. As we linger among the guardians of forgotten tales, we begin to sense a rhythm in their movements, a quiet pulse that mirrors the heartbeat of the cosmic echo itself. They are never idle, yet their activity is subtle, imperceptible to the casual observer. Perhaps one drifts along a shimmer of forgotten laughter from BMO, lightly brushing it against the faint memory of Finn's first encounter with a mysterious creature in a forest. Another may cradle a fragment of dialogue that was never heard, allowing it to ripple gently alongside the echo of a heroic act in a distant kingdom. Every gesture, no matter how small, adds depth to the infinite, tender resonance of stories, creating a lattice of narrative threads that hum in harmony, softly and endlessly. In their patience, the Guardians teach us a remarkable truth about stories and memory, that even the smallest, most fleeting moments matter. The unspoken words, the unnoticed kindness, the minor victories and quiet failures, all are precious and significant in ways that may not be immediately visible. In the gentle hum of their care, we begin to understand that stories do not need an audience to hold meaning. Their resonance exists in the very act of being, carried by the quiet stewardship of these patient, luminous beings. Every tale, every fragment, every whisper of imagination is given space to breathe, to shimmer, to exist tenderly within the infinite expanse of the cosmic echo. Some guardians are deeply intertwined with the stories themselves, almost inseparable from the moments they protect. Perhaps a forgotten hero from a minor adventure drifts endlessly through the echo, their presence serving as both memory and guardian. A creature who appeared for only a single scene may carry the resonance of that brief moment, ensuring it continues to hum alongside other untold tales. In this way, the Guardians are both stewards and participants, quietly shaping the flow of resonance without ever imposing, allowing the living tapestry of stories to maintain its natural rhythm and delicate harmony. There is also a sense of gentle guidance in their care. Some Guardians may encourage connections between stories that were never fully realized. A fleeting act of curiosity in one tale might brush against a quiet act of courage in another, forming a soft alignment of meaning that ripples gently across the echo. These interactions are subtle, invisible, almost like the brush of a feather on the surface of water, yet they shape the resonance of the universe in profound ways. The Guardians do not control, dictate, or judge. They merely ensure that each story can exist fully, vibrating in harmony with all that surrounds it. Even the stories that carry sorrow, regret, or quiet failure are treated with tender attention. The Guardians do not erase pain or attempt to smooth over imperfection. Instead, they fold these moments gently into the larger symphony of the cosmic echo, allowing their subtle resonance to contribute to the depth and richness of the whole. A hero's hesitation, a minor villain's fleeting remorse, a lost friendship, or an adventure that never reached its conclusion, all are preserved with care, forming layers of emotional texture that are felt rather than seen. In this way, the echo becomes a living reflection of life itself with all its complexity, tenderness, and quiet beauty. We might imagine the Guardians as luminous threads weaving endlessly through the soft mist of the cosmic echo. Their paths are not rigid, but fluid, flowing along the contours of memory, imagination, and possibility. They touch each story with reverence, allowing it to drift, shimmer, and harmonize with the countless others that surround it. In doing so, they maintain a delicate equilibrium, ensuring that no tale is overshadowed, no whisper is lost, and no fragment fades into complete obscurity. Their presence is a gentle reassurance that every story, however minor or forgotten, has a place, a heartbeat, and a resonance within the infinite expanse of the universe. There is a subtle beauty in how the Guardian's work intersects with the minds of those who dream, imagine, or recall. A dreamer may suddenly sense a faint tug of a forgotten adventure, or a storyteller might feel the quiet pull of an untold tale brushing against their imagination. The Guardians facilitate these moments without interference, allowing stories to emerge naturally when the time is right. In this way, they are not merely protectors, they are gentle guides offering unseen encouragement for the act of remembering, imagining, and noticing, fostering a quiet co-creation between mind and memory. And perhaps the most profound lesson of the Guardians is the reassurance they offer. In the vast, luminous expanse of the cosmic echo, nothing is ever truly lost. Every laughter, every tear, every fleeting act of curiosity or bravery continues to hum softly, preserved by patient, luminous beings whose purpose is gentle care. The forgotten, the untold, the almost lost, all are held with reverence, integrated into a living, breathing tapestry that stretches infinitely, yet feels intimately close to anyone willing to notice. In the presence of these guardians, we are reminded that stories exist not only when they are told, but also when they are nurtured, attended to, and remembered, even in the quietest of ways. They are the silent, patient witnesses to the infinite symphony of imagination and memory, ensuring that the cosmic echo remains whole, tender, and endlessly comforting. In their care, the whispers of forgotten tales continue to shimmer, vibrate, and hum, forming a gentle, eternal lullaby that cradles every story in the soft, boundless rhythm of the universe. As we continue our gentle journey through the cosmic echo, let us now turn our attention to a subtle and almost magical phenomenon: the transformation of stories in silence. In the quiet, untamed expanse of the echo, tales do not remain fixed. They shift, ripple, and evolve, sometimes in ways so delicate that they are nearly imperceptible. These are the stories that exist beyond the immediate attention of anyone watching or remembering, the adventures that unfold softly, almost on their own, in the tender spaces where imagination and memory converge. Consider how a story might begin in one form, but through the absence of observation, quietly grows into something else. A forgotten act of courage by Finn may blend softly with a whimsical, playful curiosity from Jake, creating an adventure that never occurred in the world of the show, but hums gently in the cosmic echo. The unspoken possibilities of characters, their fleeting thoughts, and the moments that were never dramatized take on a subtle vitality here. Silence does not erase them. It allows them to breathe, to explore, to stretch into new forms, as if the very act of being unnoticed grants them freedom. It is a curious and comforting paradox that stories often gain depth in their quiet solitude. A conversation never heard, a glance never seen, a choice almost made. These fragments of narrative transform subtly over time. Perhaps the tender energy of the moment resonates with distant memories of other adventures, shaping a new pattern of meaning. The cosmic echo does not rush these transformations. It waits, patiently and endlessly, allowing the soft evolution of stories to emerge at a pace dictated by resonance rather than urgency. Each alteration is delicate, like the gentle bending of light through mist, softening edges and blending hues to form something quietly extraordinary. We might imagine a single untold story as a small, luminous orb drifting through the expanse of the echo. In solitude, it hums softly, vibrating with potential, awaiting the touch of connection. Over time, it may brush against other orbs, gentle collisions that leave traces, subtle impressions, and faint harmonics. One minor misadventure may mingle with a quiet moment of reflection from another character, forming a delicate interplay that was never scripted, but exists perfectly within the resonance of the echo. In this way, silence becomes a space of creation, allowing stories to evolve in intimate, unseen ways. Even the smallest gestures carry weight in this process. A fleeting moment of laughter, a whisper of doubt, the softest sigh of curiosity. They all have the capacity to shape the transformation of stories in ways that are gentle, unseen, yet profoundly meaningful. The cosmic echo holds them tenderly, ensuring that they continue to hum alongside the more prominent events of the world of Adventure Time. In this quiet, almost sacred space, narratives do not compete for attention. They coexist, intertwine, and reshape themselves organically, forming a gentle harmony that reflects the true depth and nuance of imagination. The transformation of stories in silence is not limited to the characters alone. Settings, moods, and atmospheres evolve as well. A quiet forest, barely explored in one episode, may drift through the echo and bloom into a vast, luminous landscape in another imaginary iteration. A fleeting storm over Candy Kingdom may extend into a soft, continuous rhythm of wind and rain that carries echoes of forgotten adventures. Even the subtle, emotional tones of unspoken interactions transform in silence, deepening, enriching, and expanding the resonance of the original story. The echo becomes a canvas where everything, no matter how minor or overlooked, can unfold and shift with grace and quiet beauty. In some ways, this transformation mirrors the way our own memories and imagination work. We do not always recall events exactly as they happen. They evolve, shift, and intermingle with other experiences, forming patterns that are unique to our perception. The cosmic echo magnifies this process, allowing stories to explore infinite possibilities in a space that is both patient and receptive. The quiet evolution of tales is not chaotic, it is harmonious, guided by the gentle currents of resonance and the patient stewardship of the guardians who ensure that even in transformation, the essence of each story is preserved. We might imagine that every transformation carries a subtle kind of magic. A joke never told may bloom into a quiet moment of shared amusement across countless other stories. A silent act of kindness may ripple through the echo, touching distant adventures in ways no one can directly observe. The transformations are soft, intimate, and almost invisible, yet they contribute to the ongoing, living resonance of the universe. Every vibration matters, every whisper has consequence, and the interplay of these subtle forces shapes the infinite tapestry of the cosmic echo in ways that are tender, complex, and endlessly beautiful. And as we continue to float gently through this space, we notice that the transformations themselves are soothing. There is a quiet rhythm to the evolution of stories, a gentle flow that is both calming and mesmerizing. Watching, or rather sensing, these silent shifts, we feel a sense of continuity and care. Even stories long forgotten, adventures never witnessed, or moments that slipped past our notice are alive, gently reshaping themselves and enriching the universe in ways that are subtle but deeply satisfying. In this quiet, we are reminded that silence is not emptiness. It is a space of potential, of gentle metamorphosis, and of quiet, enduring magic. As we drift further into the quiet currents of the cosmic echo, we begin to see how even the smallest shifts can ripple outward, shaping stories in ways that are gentle yet profound. Perhaps a fleeting moment of hesitation by Finn, a choice he almost made but never acted upon, drifts through the echo and merges with Jake's soft curiosity. The combination creates a subtle, untold adventure where both courage and whimsy intertwine, forming a narrative that never existed in the episodes we watched, yet hums quietly with possibility. These transformations are not linear or predictable. They move like light refracting through a misty window, bending softly, creating new forms of resonance without erasing what was before. Even the emotional undertones of stories evolve in silence. A whispered confession, a quiet moment of longing, or the faintest trace of regret can grow into a ripple that alters the texture of the echo. Perhaps Marceline's melancholy in one fragment drifts toward a subtle joy in another memory, intertwining the emotions into a delicate balance that reflects the complexity of her character more fully than any single episode could. These transformations do not diminish the original story. They expand it, allowing it to exist simultaneously in multiple states, each resonating with tender significance. Places, too, are transformed in this gentle silence. A forest that was only briefly explored may bloom into a vast, luminescent landscape, filled with possibilities of adventure yet unimagined. Candy Kingdom may stretch quietly into new corners, with soft laughter drifting through unvisited streets, the faint glow of lights shaping shadows that were never drawn. Even the smallest settings gain a subtle life in this space, shaped not by necessity but by resonance, carrying the echoes of all who have moved through them, observed or not. Every nook and cranny, every forgotten path becomes alive with general potential. Characters' interactions, especially those that were never fully realized, find room to breathe and evolve. Perhaps a fleeting glance exchanged between two characters in an abandoned corner of Ul grows into an unspoken story of trust, curiosity, or camaraderie. A passing gesture of kindness, a quiet word of encouragement, or a moment of shared silence can resonate across the cosmic echo, weaving itself into the fabric of countless other tales. These interactions, subtle and almost invisible, carry a weight that is felt rather than measured, forming the quiet lifeblood of the echo. Sometimes entire stories transform simply because of the space around them. Unwatched episodes, forgotten scenes, or minor adventures gain new depth when they drift alongside other fragments, their resonance shifting and harmonizing with distant echoes. The cosmic echo allows them to fold into one another gently, creating soft patterns that are almost musical in their harmony. A joke never told may illuminate a tender moment of courage elsewhere. A quiet misstep may ripple into a distant triumph, and every transformation is organic, flowing naturally from the silent, patient rhythm of the universe. Even negative or sorrowful moments are not lost. They too transform in gentle ways. A moment of fear, regret, or disappointment may gain perspective in silence, integrating into the broader resonance of the echo without creating sharp edges or pain. The softness of the space allows these emotions to exist as subtle textures rather than harsh disruptions, deepening the emotional landscape and enriching the symphony of untold adventures. Pain, uncertainty, and loss do not vanish. They drift gently, contributing quietly to the depth, realism, and poignancy of every story. The transformations in silence are also deeply poetic. Imagine a story that was never concluded, drifting for centuries within the echo. Slowly it touches other fragments, tiny, unnoticed interactions, whispers of imagination, traces of remembered adventures, and eventually it blooms into a new version of itself. It is the same story, yet entirely different, shaped by the quiet hand of time, memory, and resonance. The act of being unobserved grants it freedom to explore infinite possibilities, revealing a beauty that is only visible in stillness, in attention, and in the gentle presence of the echo itself. And in these silent transformations, there is a kind of intimacy. A dreamer, a listener, or a storyteller may happen upon one of these softly reshaped tales and feel its resonance in a way that is immediate yet deeply mysterious. The story is both familiar and new, carrying the soft imprint of its previous forms, while resonating with the gentle transformations it underwent in the quiet. It is as if the universe itself is inviting attention, reflection, and imagination, allowing the mind to encounter a living story that has been patiently evolving, waiting for recognition. The cosmic echo, then, is not merely a place of preservation. It is a living, breathing space of transformation, where silence acts as both cradle and catalyst. Stories evolve gently, tenderly, and endlessly, shaped by subtle interactions, soft harmonies, and the patient care of the unseen guardians. The moments that were never observed, the adventures that slipped past notice, and the emotions that were never fully expressed, all find new life here, softly unfolding into forms that are beautiful, resonant, and infinitely comforting. As we drift even further into the quiet, gentle expanse of the cosmic echo, we begin to notice how entire networks of stories can transform together, almost like the soft flow of a river weaving through a landscape of memory. One untold adventure might brush against another, its resonance influencing the second story in a way that is subtle yet profoundly meaningful. Perhaps a minor encounter between Finn and a creature in a distant forest merges with an unremembered conversation Jake had under a twilight sky. Neither moment was fully observed in the world outside the echo, yet in this space they intertwine softly, forming a narrative that feels organic, intimate, and deeply alive. The stories evolve not in isolation, but in conversation with one another, creating a gentle symphony of possibility and imagination. Even the faintest memories gain new depth in this interplay, a glance, a sigh, a whispered thought. Moments that might have seemed inconsequential in the episodes themselves can become seeds of transformation. Perhaps Princess Bubblegum's quiet reflection in a laboratory, left unspoken and unnoticed, drifts alongside a fleeting sense of wonder from Marceline. These tiny resonances merge over time, creating subtle, layered moments that carry the essence of character, emotion, and narrative in ways that were never scripted, but feel profoundly truthful. Silence allows these transformations to occur without interference, giving stories room to stretch, breathe, and explore possibilities that might otherwise have been impossible. The cosmic echo also allows for the transformation of entire themes and emotional textures. A story that originally centered on adventure or heroism may, in silence, acquire a gentle undercurrent of reflection, curiosity, or even melancholy. A seemingly lighthearted misadventure may softly expand into a meditation on friendship or loss, deepening the resonance and emotional complexity. The process is organic, patient, and infinitely delicate, shaped not by force or intention, but by the tender rhythm of imagination itself. Each story evolves in response to its neighbors, to the soft hum of possibility, and to the quiet attention of the guardians who cradle the echo's every vibration. In this way, the cosmic echo is more than a repository of forgotten tales. It is a living laboratory of narrative transformation, where imagination and memory interlace, fold, and ripple through each other in soft, harmonious waves. Characters drift through moments they never experience fully. Spaces expand beyond their original dimensions, and emotions deepen without urgency or pressure. A minor failure in one tale may become a quiet triumph in another. A fleeting moment of fear may transform into resilience, courage, or understanding. The process is endlessly patient, creating layers of meaning that resonate softly across the boundless expanse of the echo. Even when stories interact in ways that seem paradoxical, the transformations remain gentle and harmonious. A villain's remorse, a hero's uncertainty, and a minor character's quiet whimsy may mingle together, producing an outcome that is neither entirely light nor entirely dark, yet profoundly balanced. The absence of observation allows for these nuanced developments, permitting stories to unfold naturally, free from the constraints of expectation or continuity. In this space, transformation is not a threat to the integrity of the story. It is a tender enrichment, revealing subtleties and depths that could never exist in the visible world alone. The evolution of stories in silence also reminds us that imagination is never truly bound by time or sequence. A moment from the earliest episodes of Adventure Time may resonate with an untold adventure centuries later, creating new patterns and harmonies in ways that feel both timeless and intimate. Characters and experiences drift, shift, and intersect, forming quiet networks of resonance that are felt more than seen. In this way, the cosmic echo is not linear. It is an ever-evolving, infinitely pliant space where stories are free to explore their own potential, guided by the gentle laws of attention, resonance, and memory. Perhaps the most poetic aspect of these silent transformations is their subtle impermanence. A story may shift gradually over centuries, gaining nuance, losing certain details, and folding into new harmonies, all while maintaining the essence of its original moments. It is a kind of quiet metamorphosis, where nothing is lost entirely and yet everything is free to evolve. A joke never told may bloom into a tender reflection on friendship. A moment of quiet fear may ripple into understanding, empathy, or courage. The universe itself seems to hum along with these transformations, as if the act of silent evolution is part of the fundamental rhythm of imagination and existence. And as we float gently alongside these transformations, we feel the calming reassurance they provide. Silence does not erase, it nurtures. It allows stories to explore, to harmonize, and to expand in ways that are intimate, intricate, and endlessly beautiful. The untold adventures of Ooh, the fleeting gestures of its heroes, the whispered dreams of its creatures, all evolve softly in this gentle space, forming a living tapestry that is at once comforting, mysterious, and profoundly alive. In the quiet, we sense that stories, even when unnoticed, continue to grow, shimmer, and resonate, offering a tender reminder that imagination itself is eternal, patient, and infinitely transformative. As we continue drifting through the tender currents of the cosmic echo, we begin to sense the profound intimacy of these silent transformations. They are subtle, often unnoticed, yet their effects ripple gently through the infinite tapestry of imagination. A fleeting glance between two characters in one untold adventure may bloom into an unspoken understanding in another. A minor hero's hesitation may ripple softly into a distant moment of quiet courage, shaping the emotional resonance of a story that will never be fully told, yet continues to hum gently, persistently across the echo. Every story, every whisper, every fragment carries the potential to evolve in ways that are infinitely delicate and profoundly meaningful. The process of transformation in silence is not haphazard. It is guided by a natural, gentle rhythm, almost musical in its flow. Untold adventures harmonize with one another, forming subtle chords of possibility. Themes and motifs drift, intertwine, and blossom, creating patterns that exist solely in the soft resonance of the echo. Perhaps a moment of playfulness between Jake and BMO brushes against a quiet display of heroism from Finn, producing a tenderly reimagined story where courage and joy coexist in balance. These transformations reveal the depth and nuance of imagination, showing us that even when stories go unobserved, they are alive, evolving, and radiant in their quiet potential. Places and atmospheres, too, transform with grace. A barely explored forest may stretch into a luminous labyrinth, dotted with the quiet presence of creatures whose adventures were never seen. Candy Kingdom might unfold into new streets and alleyways, each carrying echoes of unobserved laughter, whispered secrets, and tender moments of discovery. The cosmic echo allows these settings to evolve organically, shaped by resonance and imagination rather than necessity. In this gentle expansion, every corner of Uru becomes a living, breathing entity, soft and luminous, holding stories that are waiting patiently to shimmer for those who notice them. Even the smallest interactions carry remarkable weight. A shared smile, a whispered thought, a moment of hesitation. These seemingly insignificant gestures are cradled by the echo and allowed to ripple outward, influencing distant fragments of narrative. Perhaps a glance from Marceline reaches a subtle reflection in another untold tale, intertwining emotions and experiences in ways that feel deeply connected, yet remain invisible to any casual observer. These gentle interplays create an intricate web of meaning, a quiet resonance that imbues every story with a tenderness and depth that could never be fully captured in the visible world alone. The transformations that occur in silence also reflect the delicate impermanence of memory and imagination. No story remains static. Every echo drifts, shifts, and blossoms, softening edges and expanding in gentle waves. A joke never delivered may bloom into a moment of quiet joy. A small act of kindness, once unnoticed, may resonate through countless untold adventures, creating a subtle harmony of emotion and meaning. Silence, in this sense, becomes a space of both freedom and protection, allowing stories to explore new possibilities while remaining cradled by the gentle pulse of the echo. There is a poetic intimacy in this process. Untold stories evolve slowly, organically, as if they are aware of the patient eyes of those who might one day remember them. Each transformation carries the quiet energy of potential, of lives lived in imagination alone, of adventures that ripple softly without needing acknowledgement. The cosmic echo offers stories the freedom to grow, to stretch, to interlace with one another, creating a living tapestry that is infinitely complex yet serenely harmonious. It is a space where imagination thrives, unhurried and tender, and where the act of existing quietly becomes its own kind of beauty. Even moments of sorrow, fear, or uncertainty are transformed with gentle care. The echo does not erase difficulty. It allows it to exist softly, folding it into the broader resonance of the universe. A hero's fleeting doubt may ripple into understanding or resilience. A minor setback may bloom into quiet wisdom. Every nuance of emotion contributes to the richness of the transformed story, revealing that even imperfection carries meaning. The gentle evolution of stories in silence teaches us that all experiences, no matter how small or fleeting, are worthy of attention, care, and remembrance. And perhaps the most comforting truth is this: nothing in the cosmic echo is ever truly lost. Every untold adventure, every whispered interaction, every minor gesture and fleeting thought continues to exist, evolving softly, transforming gently, and resonating with tender significance. In this quiet, the stories of Wu live on beyond the need for observation, beyond the confines of time, and beyond the boundaries of conventional narrative. They persist in a space of patient growth and intimate transformation, always accessible to those willing to enter the stillness and notice the soft vibrations of imagination at work. In witnessing this, we feel the serene magic of the cosmic echo. The silent transformations of stories are not just processes of change. They are acts of preservation, celebration, and gentle creation. They remind us that every story, whether told or untold, observed or forgotten, continues to shimmer with quiet life, contributing to the infinite, tender symphony of memory and imagination. In this calm, luminous space, stories are free to evolve gracefully, softly, and endlessly, offering a comforting, enduring reminder that imagination itself is patient, resilient, and beautifully live. After floating through the endless currents of forgotten tales, silent transformations, and gentle resonance, we find ourselves preparing to bring the soft magic of these stories back into our own awareness. Imagine, if you the way a dream lingers just at the edge of waking, delicate and tender, carrying hints of places, people, and moments that feel familiar yet remain just beyond full comprehension. This is the sensation of returning from the echo, a gentle reawakening of memory, imagination, and quiet understanding. The cosmic echo is not a place one leaves in a hurry. Its currents are soft and persistent, wrapping around the mind and imagination like a slowly flowing river. The process of return is gradual, a drift rather than a journey, guided by subtle awareness rather than force. We do not step out abruptly. We slide softly through layers of resonance, each one carrying the whispers of untold adventures, fleeting glances, and minor gestures that shape the silent evolution of stories. Even as we return, the echo continues to hum faintly beneath the surface of consciousness, a comforting undercurrent reminding us that nothing is ever truly lost, that every fragment of imagination retains its quiet vitality. Perhaps the most remarkable aspect of returning from the echo is the way stories ripple into consciousness, often unexpectedly. A forgotten line of dialogue, a fleeting expression, or the gentle shimmer of an untold adventure may appear as a faint memory, a dreamlike image, or a sudden sense of recognition. These echoes are not forced. They arise naturally, softly brushing against attention, allowing us to witness the quiet beauty of transformation that occurred in the silent spaces. A story that was once unobserved may now find gentle resonance in the mind, carrying both the original essence and the subtle shifts it underwent in the vast, patient expanse of the echo. As we settle into this soft return, we might notice that the characters themselves appear differently, almost as if the gentle evolution of their untold moments has left an impression. Finn may seem slightly more reflective, carrying a tenderness born of countless small, unnoticed choices. Jake's playful curiosity may hum with the echoes of adventures never witnessed, subtly expanded and intertwined with distant memories. Marceline's music, once ephemeral, now vibrates softly with untold depth, enriched by quiet transformations in the echo. Even minor characters and background moments gain a faint, enduring presence, a reminder that every fragment of story, no matter how small, continues to exist with gentle resonance. Returning also allows us to sense the subtle lessons embedded in the echo. Stories, even when untold, never cease to teach. A quiet act of courage may ripple into a newfound appreciation for bravery in its softest form. A fleeting moment of kindness may resonate with compassion that had previously gone unnoticed. The silent evolution of tales teaches patience, reflection, and the value of subtlety. It reminds us that imagination does not demand an audience to flourish, and that every story, no matter how minor or overlooked, carries significance, beauty, and meaning. The process of reintegration is not only about noticing individual stories, but also about perceiving the patterns that arise from their interwoven transformations. As the currents of the echo recede softly, we can sense how adventures, emotions, and moments have aligned themselves into a gentle harmony. Untold adventures merge quietly with observed ones, creating an enriched resonance that touches imagination in ways that feel familiar and comforting. The process is not linear or abrupt. It is a soft, expansive unfolding, like sunlight gradually spilling into a misty forest, revealing the subtle contours, colors, and textures that were always present, but hidden in the quiet. Even the landscapes of Ooh seem subtly altered upon return. Places once fleeting now shimmer with faint traces of untold stories, quiet whispers of life that existed only in the spaces between episodes, in the unobserved glances, and in the silent interactions. A tree that appeared in a single scene may now hum with memories of minor adventures and hidden glimmers of joy. A castle corridor may carry echoes of conversations never heard, of plans never enacted, and of gentle moments of reflection that quietly shape the universe. The world feels richer, deeper, and more tender, infused with the subtle resonance of countless silent transformations. The act of returning also brings a sense of intimate connection to the guardians of the cosmic echo. Though unseen, their gentle stewardship is felt throughout the soft reawakening. The careful preservation of forgotten tales, the quiet guidance of evolving stories, and the patient nurturing of resonance all leave an imprint that we sense as we drift back. It is as if the guardian's care has seeped into the very fibers of our awareness, leaving a soft glow of understanding and reassurance. We recognize that even as the echo recedes, its gentle influence remains, cradling imagination, memory, and the quiet continuity of untold stories. And as we continue this gentle return, there is a profound comfort in knowing that the journey is not an ending. The cosmic echo continues to hum softly, carrying untold stories, silent transformations, and tender resonances, patiently awaiting the next mind, dreamer, or storyteller to brush against its currents. In the act of returning, we carry these whispers with us, not as fully formed tales, but as subtle vibrations, tender hints, and quiet inspirations that enrich perception, imagination, and understanding. The echo has not ended. It has simply become a part of our consciousness, a gentle companion that flows quietly beneath thought and memory, soft and enduring. As we glide further into this gentle return, we begin to notice how the whispers of the cosmic echo subtly color our perception of the world. The stories we once watched, the adventures we once followed, now carry an added depth, a tender resonance that was cultivated in silence. Perhaps a scene we remember from a familiar episode now hums with traces of untold moments, soft interactions, and subtle gestures that were never observed. These quiet transformations do not replace the stories we know. They enrich them, layering meaning upon meaning, creating a tapestry that feels infinitely alive and deeply comforting. Even the smallest characters seem to carry a soft glow, as though their minor gestures and fleeting appearances have absorbed the quiet magic of the echo. A candy citizen, previously unnoticed in the background, may now vibrate faintly with its own unspoken adventures. The tiniest creatures, the briefest interactions, and the most delicate details of Ooh now shimmer with subtle significance, reminding us that every moment, no matter how slight, contributes to the universe's tender harmony. In this gentle return, we are invited to notice these details, to sense the quiet life that has been patiently preserved and nurtured in silence. The subtle lessons of the echo begin to unfold within our own consciousness. We realize that stories are never truly lost. Even those adventures that were never told, that slip past memory, continue to exist in quiet resonance, patiently evolving until they find a soft reflection in our own imagination. This is the comforting magic of the cosmic echo. It reminds us that attention is not required for life, courage, joy, or tenderness to endure. The simple act of imagining, remembering, or noticing is enough to awaken these quiet resonances, allowing them to shimmer softly in our minds and dreams. As we float in this state of gentle awareness, we notice that the process of returning is also a kind of dialogue. The echo communicates not with words, but with vibration, tone, and resonance. A subtle pulse of curiosity from an untold adventure might spark a quiet recollection of a lesson learned in another story. A faint whisper of a hero's doubt may echo in our awareness as a soft understanding of resilience. These exchanges are intimate, almost imperceptible, yet profoundly meaningful. They remind us that stories exist not only for the sake of being observed, but also for the tender ways they shape consciousness, imagination, and understanding. The landscapes of now softly reimagined by the echo, seem to carry a quiet memory of countless untold adventures. Forests, mountains, rivers, and skies hum faintly with the presence of invisible journeys. Perhaps the Ice Kingdom holds a trace of Marceline's long-lost melodies drifting silently through the frost and shadow. Perhaps the Fire Kingdom carries the warmth of unseen acts of kindness, threading through lava flows and embers. The world itself becomes richer and more layered, infused with the subtle energy of stories that evolved in silence, a reminder that imagination is not bounded by observation or necessity. Returning from the echo also allows us to sense the faint, enduring presence of the guardians. Though they remain unseen, their careful stewardship leaves traces in the stories that now shimmer in our awareness. Every minor act preserved, every untold adventure nurtured, and every quiet resonance maintained by their gentle vigilance becomes accessible to the mind in subtle, almost imperceptible ways. It is as if their care has left a soft imprint upon the universe, a comforting presence that assures us that imagination, memory, and the essence of stories are always cradled and never truly lost. Even the moments of imperfection and fragility in the stories acquire a tender significance. Hesitations, minor mistakes, fleeting doubts, and small failures are no longer mere absences. They resonate softly, harmonizing with courage, discovery, and joy in ways that feel natural, balanced, and deeply human. These nuanced transformations in the echo remind us that the richness of a story is not found only in its triumphs, but also in its quiet, subtle, and sometimes fragile moments. Returning with this awareness, we perceive the beauty of imperfection and the gentle complexity of existence. And perhaps most tenderly, we realize that the return from the cosmic echo is not an ending. It is a soft continuation, a gentle integration of unseen stories, transform moments, and quiet resonances into our consciousness. The echo itself continues to hum beneath awareness, a patient, enduring rhythm of imagination and memory that waits for the next dreamer, the next listener, or the next storyteller to brush against its currents. In returning, we carry with us not just the stories themselves, but also the gentle lessons, subtle harmonies, and tender magic that the cosmic echo nurtures in every unobserved moment. As we settle fully into this gentle return from the cosmic echo, we begin to notice the subtle ways in which untold stories continue to live quietly within us. Each whisper, each shimmer, each tender transformation carries with it a soft imprint, an echo that lingers in memory, imagination, and quiet reflection. Perhaps a fleeting scene from a forgotten adventure emerges in a dream, or a faint emotion resonates unexpectedly while recalling a favorite character. The stories have not returned as complete narratives. Instead, they arrive as gentle currents, flowing softly into thought, feeling, and imagination, leaving traces that are as comforting as they are mysterious. In this state, we begin to perceive the true magic of the echo, the beauty of stories existing beyond observation, beyond necessity, yet eternally alive. Even when untold, stories do not fade. They shimmer quietly, evolving in resonance and forming connections with other stories, other memories, and other moments of imagination. This delicate interplay reminds us that creation and preservation are not dependent on visibility. The act of being, whether remembered or forgotten, observed or overlooked, carries an intrinsic tenderness and significance. In returning, we carry this understanding with us, a soft reassurance that imagination is patient, resilient, and boundless. The landscapes of Oo, once simply settings for visible adventures, now hum softly with layers of quiet meaning. A forest glade may vibrate with traces of countless untold encounters, each one gently shaping the way the mind experiences the world. A castle corridor may hold faint echoes of conversations that never took place, of plans that were never enacted, of minor acts of courage and kindness that unfolded entirely in the spaces between observation. In perceiving these subtleties, we realize that the world itself is richer, deeper, and more tender than we had previously noticed. The cosmic echo has left its mark, a luminous imprint that continues to shimmer softly beneath consciousness. Characters, too, emerge transformed by their journeys through silence. Finn carries a faint weight of reflection, a tender awareness of choices imagined but not acted upon. Jake hums with subtle wisdom, a gentle blending of curiosity and quiet insight gleaned from adventures unseen. Marceline's melodies, once ephemeral, now vibrate with layers of unobserved depth, revealing dimensions of emotion that were always present but never fully articulated. Even minor characters, once barely noticed, now glow with quiet significance, reminders that every life, every interaction, and every small gesture carries enduring resonance. Returning from the echo allows us to sense the delicate presence of the guardians, the unseen stewards of untold stories. Their care is subtle, but profound, shaping every transformation, preserving every whisper, and ensuring that each story retains its tender vitality. We may never see them directly, yet their influence is felt in the soft, harmonious resonance of memory and imagination. They remind us that preservation is gentle and patient, that care can exist without observation, and that the quiet nurturing of stories is itself a form of enduring magic. In this final stage of return, we are invited to reflect on the nature of silence, observation, and imagination. Untold stories, moments unobserved, and quiet interactions do not disappear. They evolve, interweave, and gain resonance in ways that are subtle, beautiful, and enduring. The cosmic echo demonstrates that the universe itself is patient, infinitely accommodating, and tender. Imagination does not require an audience to flourish, and memory does not require perfection to endure. The gentle evolution of stories in silence offers a profound lesson. Everything that exists, no matter how fleeting or small, carries significance, beauty, and quiet magic. And as we allow these reflections to settle softly in our minds, we feel tender comfort, a serene reassurance. The stories of Oo, both told and untold, observed and silent, continue to shimmer in the cosmic echo, patiently awaiting the touch of attention, the brush of imagination, or the quiet awareness of a dreamer. Their resonance is eternal, gentle, and soothing, reminding us that creation, memory, and imagination are endlessly intertwined in a rhythm of quiet continuity. Each story, no matter how minor, contributes to a living, breathing symphony of wonder and reflection. Perhaps the most profound gift of the echo is its intimacy. It allows us to experience the universe not only through observation, but through resonance, reflection, and quiet awareness. Stories drift softly into our consciousness, teaching patience, kindness, and the beauty of subtlety. They remind us that even when unobserved, even when untold, every act, every gesture, and every thought carries meaning. In this space, Imagination and memory coalesce, forming a calm, luminous continuum that cradles every whisper, every resonance, and every silent transformation. And so, sleepyheads, as we slowly emerge from the cosmic echo, we carry with us its tender lessons, the gentle evolution of stories, the enduring presence of the guardians, the quiet bloom of untold adventures, and the soft resonance of imagination all become part of the mind, woven seamlessly into thought, reflection, and dream. We are reminded that nothing is ever truly lost, that silence can nurture as profoundly as attention, and that the universe itself holds every story, no matter how small, with infinite care. Tonight, as you settle further under your blankets and allow your eyes to grow heavy, let the soft hum of the cosmic echo linger with you. Imagine the untold adventures of Ooh drifting gently around you, whispering in tones of curiosity, courage, and quiet joy. Feel the subtle presence of the guardians, watching tenderly, ensuring that every story, no matter how fleeting, continues to shine. In this serene space, the line between observation and imagination softens, allowing every moment, every whisper, and every resonance to exist fully, gently, and beautifully. As we settle more fully into the gentle rhythm of return, the resonance of the cosmic echo seems to extend beyond the boundaries of imagination and memory. It reaches softly into the spaces between waking and dreaming, filling the mind with a quiet, comforting presence. Even as the currents of untold stories begin to fade into the background, their echoes linger, like the faint afterglow of a sun dipping beneath the horizon. Each unobserved adventure, each silent transformation, continues to hum quietly, reminding us that the act of existing, whether witnessed or not, is itself a kind of quiet magic. We may notice how subtle shifts in perception now color the way we experience the familiar world. Places and characters once seen as simple or static now carry faint traces of resonance, their depth amplified by the soft transformations of untold moments. A forest that seemed ordinary in a past episode now seems alive with whispers of unspoken adventures. A castle corridor, once empty and silent, carries the echo of minor interactions and tender glances that were never captured in the story we watched. Even the smallest characters, perhaps a candy citizen or a fleeting creature in the background, hum gently with the unseen weight of stories evolved in silence. Returning from the echo is also a lesson in patience and perspective. We begin to understand that not all moments need immediate recognition to exist meaningfully. The unobserved adventures, quiet hesitations, and minor gestures are just as vital as the grand events we remember. In this calm awareness, we feel a serene comfort, realizing that every story carries intrinsic value, that every whisper matters, and that imagination thrives even in the absence of attention. The cosmic echo teaches us that existence is a gentle, enduring rhythm, and that the quiet nurturing of moments allows them to bloom in ways both subtle and profound. The guardian's influence becomes increasingly perceptible as we reorient ourselves to our surroundings. Though unseen, their gentle stewardship resonates in the soft harmony of memory and imagination. Their care ensures that each story, no matter how fleeting or minor, remains preserved and capable of transformation. In their quiet vigilance, we sense a deep tenderness, a patient and abiding presence that cradles imagination, reflection, and memory. Even as we awaken from the echo, the guardian's influence remains, a soft reminder that nothing in the universe is ever truly lost, that all experiences continue to hum quietly in the background of existence. As we move gently through these final moments of return, we may find ourselves noticing the quiet interplay of emotion, memory, and imagination. A fleeting moment of courage now resonates softly alongside a previously unnoticed act of kindness. A brief hesitation is transformed into quiet wisdom. The threads of untold stories, once invisible, now weave subtly into our awareness, enriching our understanding of characters' worlds and the tender balance of narrative that flows beneath the surface. These threads do not demand recognition. They simply exist, whispering gently and leaving traces of their quiet beauty upon the mind. Even the passage of time seems softer in the wake of the echo. Minutes, hours, or even years may stretch and bend gently in memory, carrying with them the faint shimmer of adventures long past and stories never witnessed. The transformations that occurred in silence, the delicate interplay of character and setting, emotion and action, now become part of an enduring, luminous continuum. Every whisper of the past and every resonance of imagination contributes to a living tapestry that exists beyond linearity, beyond observation, and beyond expectation. And so, as we settle under our blankets, allowing our minds to drift into the tender folds of sleep, we carry with us the quiet magic of the cosmic echo. Stories, both told and untold, observed and silent, continue to shimmer softly in the background of consciousness. They hum quietly, guiding imagination, inspiring reflection, and offering comfort in their gentle presence. In this serene space, we sense the profound truth that every act, every whisper, and every fragment of experience possesses significance, enduring in gentle resonance long after it has passed from view. Let yourself drift further now, sleepyheads. Allow the gentle hum of untold adventures, soft transformations, and tender memories to fill your mind. Feel the subtle presence of characters, landscapes, and guardians, all vibrating quietly with life, ensuring that every story continues to exist in harmony and grace. The cosmic echo persists, patient and luminous, and as you close your eyes, may it carry you into dreams where imagination flows freely, softly, and beautifully. Good night.